Baby Driver week is now over. This is the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. Now, Baby Driver, great music. By the way, I did not know the Baby Driver song until I saw Baby Driver.
I
missed that Paul Simon song completely.
It's really strange because when it's the last song of the movie.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this was a song and that's what this title. Because everyone was like, what a weird title.
I thought he got him to write a new song.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
It's very strange, but it's a really good song. And thus concludes Baby Driver Week.
It's the Bennington Show. This is Friday. So if you have any meat, fry it today. And apparently that also means chicken. Now, we made this announcement yesterday. Our own Chris Stanley. Street jokes are, I sometimes call it our other show, but I was talking to some people in the biz, and by the biz, I'm talking about the industry, and by the industry, I'm really talking about the business itself, okay, that has come together. A lot of them are telling me that they prefer street jokes.
That's amazing to me, because I feel like street jokes is kind of like the little sister of Comedy 101. Comedy 101 is like the older, hotter sister, more experienced. And then, like, I feel like street jokes are like, hey, I'm over here. I'm the funny one. Like that.
But think of it this way. The older, hotter sister, some people don't like her, and they think that she's mean. The little one,
I'm friendly.
Like, he's friendly. He's good. I was told this by somebody in the industry, and I'm literally talking at this point, someone in the business. And he said to me, he goes, yeah, if you hit a waterhead in the face with a stick, you're going to laugh, but later you might feel bad. I go, yeah? And he goes, that's the problem with Comedy 101. He goes, street jokes, it's like putting a kid on your fucking handlebars and riding him home from school because his ankle hurts.
So true.
That's why this guy was able to get up in the business, you know? I mean, he's so high in the business, he's in the industry. Wow. Yeah. So, Chris, say where the Friendly Street Jokes is going to be.
Friendly Street Jokes is happening Wednesday, August 22nd at 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. You go to the ibang.com for tickets.
We're going to give out some tickets at the ibang.com, and I mentioned this yesterday. We're tweaking it and making it fun. We've got professional comedians performing against non-professionals.
Yes.
Okay? Not even open mic people like yourself. Yeah. Okay? Joe Lunch Buckets. Yeah. Except for some of these lunch buckets, they're known. What I'm saying is stand-ups. Now, the point would be, if you're giving the material, right?
Yes.
If you have the material handed to you, can you deliver a joke as well as a professional comedian? This shows up in ancient Greek culture. They were always... The Egyptians, like, hey, if you had the material, wouldn't you be good as any comic? But most of our constitution is based upon this.
Now, you had told me a story once, now I'm forgetting what duo it was. But you said there was a situation where they're like, how come you get all the jokes? Why don't you write the jokes? Why don't I get the punchlines?
Here's what happened. The story that you're talking about, let me tell it in a way. People in the industry know this story, and most people in the business know it. There was a time, Rat Pack, in Vegas in the 1960s. I mean, the whole thing was a go, daddy, go. How's your bite? So the Rat Pack would go on stage, and I'm talking about Dean, Sammy. I'm talking about the king of swing himself, Frank Sinatra, and for some reason, Peter Lawford. And, hey, everybody needs an MC, right, Joey Bishop? So they're back afterwards, and they're having a couple of stiff drinks, and they're enjoying some swing. And Frank says, you know what, Dean, you get all the laughs. I don't get any of the laughs. Can we switch lines? And Dino says, sure. What do I care, Palsy? Go ahead, pal, let's do this, Pally. So the very next night, they switched jokes. So Frank is doing Dean's jokes, and Dean's doing Frank's jokes, and Dean gets all the laughs.
Yes.
And the reason why? He was born with timing, okay? And if you want to swing, if you want to have the beat, you got to have the timing, right?
True.
And he had it in spades, Daddy-O. In spades. Frank, great singer, sticks so far up his ass. And I'm going to tell you this as a singer. I prefer Dean to Frank.
I do too. I really do.
Let's go around the room. Spencer, what about you? Dean or Frank?
Frank.
You two are always so much together.
Yeah.
All right? You're my apple pies. Gail, you're something else. You're seriously right now, I call you like a deep fried banana split.
Oh,
you know?
delicious.
Nobody sees you coming. Anyway, street jokes. Chris will not push it, but treat goes. We're bringing together a team of New York's best stand-up comics and a team of well-known personalities who aren't comedian to find out if it takes a talent to tell a great joke. It's time for the comics to defend their turf. Can New York's best stand-up comedians take on all comers? We gonna find out, Daddy-O. Street jokes.
That's happening Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club. Go to the ibang.com for free tickets.
Now, part of what kicked into this is some of these guys that are in the industry. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't think they're in the business yet, but they definitely are in the industry. They were laughing about the fact that Jeffrey Gurian stole the last one.
Yes.
And
he stole it.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And they, these guys worked the phones. And what was going around, what was traveling around and went viral was how the hell did this happen? How did Gurian whip the ass of an Ari Shafir?
Yes.
I forget who else. Dante.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Normand.
Dante Nero. A Mark Norman. A Norman Nero, or finally a Mark Dante. And I had said the whole time it came down to two things that he had. Preparation.
Yes.
Love of the joke, love of the business, and a deep desire to do well in the industry. Those are the four. Those are the four things that you have to have.
I mean, he sold the shit out of it, and I think that's that's the thing is you don't want to go up there and just be like, "Oh, this is just some joke that I heard. Oh, let's see if you guys think it's funny." He believed it. He told it from the perspective of this guy I know did this thing, or this woman who I met last week said this.
Right.
And you were like, I'm along for the ride, Jeffrey.
Yes.
This is a very silly ride, and I'm in.
I tell this to young kids who want to get into the business or even want to, give the industry a try. I go, you can't walk out on that stage with your hat in your hand. The people find out. You got to put that hat on the end of a hard dick and let them know. Hey, if we're playing baseball, I don't need to choke up, all right? Because I'm going for the bleachers. Now, Chris, do you think that you can deliver a joke?
I believe so, yes.
You could deliver a newspaper, young man. Okay? I always say this about Chris Stanley. I go, this guy couldn't fall out of a boat and hit water. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's his MO. You know why? Because you don't care and you have no respect for who came before you.
I have nothing but respect for everyone.
Do you?
Yes.
Who came before you, Chris?
Pitsy.
Pitsy. He's not even talking about the industry of the business. You don't even know who came before you.
Pitsy.
What are you doing? You're looking at something.
I want to just let everyone know Street Jokes is happening on Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m.
Where's the cell? Right? I just want everyone to know that it's happening. It's happening. Not that you got to be there, right?
Yeah.
It's got to sound like a fucking house on fire, and you're bringing a bucket of water.
Sell it, Chrissy. Go.
Street Jokes. It's
not by yelling and screaming and demanding of people.
I feel triggered right now.
Yeah. It's not that you want them to be there. You need them to be there. Why?
Yeah.
For their existence. For them to live, they must be there. You're bringing food to starving people.
Okay.
Yeah. Go.
All right. If you want to eat, if you're starving, go.
By the way, you don't
That's
bring
literal.
starving during a fucking thing.
You took it totally literally.
Yeah. And who's this you're speaking to?
You, the listener.
No. Me, the person you want to speak
All
to.
right.
Go.
You, the person.
What I recommend is put up a picture of somebody you know and you love and you're trying to convince all the time.
Pull it up.
Speak to that person.
All right. I'm going to put up a picture of Gurian then.
Stop being a wise ass. All right, you're great at being a wise ass. Guess what?
Yeah.
Train left. Are you on the train? No. You're at the fucking station. Down on your knees, sucking dick for fucking Nicholas. Come on, Chris, let's go.
So cheap.
You don't want to be on a train station sucking dick.
Oh
Come
my
on,
God,
dude.
he takes it literally every
I know.
time.
And don't steal, dude. In this fucking business,
industry?
once your name is mud. No, I'm not talking about the industry. I'm talking about the business. This is not time to talk about the industry.
Okay, I got confused. I got confused between the two.
Come on, dude. Brand yourself as somebody who cares.
Okay, if
And roll.
you're listening to a man who cares about you, you the listener.
All right,
coming.
stop saying you, the listener. First of all, like, if I'm actually talking to someone, I don't say you. You have to do that.
right.
I speak directly to them.
I got it.
Yeah,
Okay, I
you
got
don't
it.
have to
All
be
right.
pushy.
The imaginary person.
Okay, yeah, all right. Hey, buddy, I know what you want to do.
Come on, dude. It's for real. Dude.
I am being for
hey,
real.
buddy. What is this, 1930s?
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, the look who fucking doesn't like women. Women, the misogynist. You know what? Just say date, time, street jokes. That's all you got to do.
Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m., Stand Comedy Club, Street Jokes, the ibang.com for free tickets.
You know what worked about that?
What's that?
The less you, the better. Okay? I don't want them to even know they heard it. You should be whispering it in their ear and then disappearing. Spencer, you love this business, right?
Yep.
But do you love the industry?
Industry seems pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're right. Well, do me a favor, all right? Lay on us your Spencer's top 5 this week.
Okay, here it comes.
All systems are go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Spencer Burger Comedy Countdown. Okay, so this is Spencer Burger's Summer of Streaming Stand-Up Specials. These are the 5 stand-up specials everyone should be watching this summer, all available on Netflix. Now, Ron and Gail, before we begin, can I ask you one question?
Please do.
Y'all ready for this?
I want to see a roller skating gymnast in a monkey suit come in during it. It's like it was basketball.
That Jock Jam jocks us up real good.
Now, big streaming comedy services, as you know, Nick DiPaolo is on CISO,
Yes.
where I'd also done a show called What's Your Fucking Deal? I just found out yesterday, CISO kaput. Done.
Completely.
Off the charts.
Wow.
Out of the industry, no longer part of the business.
Oh, no.
So, it's official. CISO is done.
Okay, so we got 5 lists of comedians. So I'll give you guys
5 lists?
Yeah, we got 5 lists.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. So I'll give you guys the first 2 or 3, and then I'll give you the last couple ones a guess.
Okay, good.
Great.
So number 5, we have Rory Scovel.
Love
Good
Scovel.
one. I would agree.
Yep. So Rory Scovel tries stand up for the first time.
Ever?
That's the name of it?
Yep.
Yes.
That's where he tries.
That's misleading.
He's so good at it for his first time.
Yep. Some comedians are good. Some people need practice.
That is true.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, but if I say that, people say I'm racist.
Okay. Number 4. Here we go. Tracy Morgan.
What's Tracy on? What's service?
Staying Alive.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Oh my God, that song always gets catchy.
It does.
Oh
get
my God.
It
catchy.
gets real catchy.
Gotta love the Bee Gees.
I do.
I love some of them. Not all. That damn Robin. Number 3.
Okay. So once again, you are listening to Spencer Burger's Summer of Streaming Stand-Up Specials. Okay, so number 3, we have Sarah Silverman.
that is, I
her.
highly recommend. That is such a good special.
I'm going to lowly recommend it,
No.
and I'll tell you why.
You're wrong, dude.
And I don't like to be judged as a person, but I will say this: I better watch my tone. But the thing about Sarah is, why won't she ever do the joke, Sarah Doctor in the house? That would be the name of the special.
Yeah. The special is A Speck of Dust.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
But she does all of her she does all of her political jokes.
Yeah.
True.
See, to me,
Yeah.
I don't like. Well, I always say this: if I want politics, I'll read a newspaper. When I want a good joke, I want to see somebody with a rubber chicken. You know?
Don't worry. There's a good squirrel bit in there as well. You know, not everyone likes that. You
I
know?
don't know rodent material. And is rodent a red meat? Discuss.
Okay. We have last two. So number 2, do you guys want to try?
Yes, I do want to try.
All right, go for it.
I'm going to say 2017 by Mr. Louis Seck. Louis C.K.
Sorry, but wrong.
What?
Is maybe the new maybe the most recent Chappelle special?
Going to the Chappelle and we're gonna get married.
Oh, they have a good song, but unfortunately wrong.
Wow, no Chappelle,
Harsh.
no Louis C.K.
I like this. This is a controversial list.
It is a controversial.
You guys want to try one more guess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I do want to try another one that I think is good.
I have a guess.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned it earlier.
good.
Ari Shafir's new special.
Ari
Bingo! Congratulations, Gail. You did it.
Yeah.
Yep,
We
so
did it.
it's Ari Shafir's Double Negative.
Double negative. Now, why does he call it that?
Basically because sometimes he can say something that could be negative twice.
I
Nah, I'm
guess
just joking.
so. Oh, that's good.
Good joke.
It is a good joke. What's his name again?
Ari Shafir.
All right. The thing about Ari Shafir is he's always driving around rich people in his cars. You know?
Yeah, true.
Too many wealthy.
Oh, yeah. Too many wealthy out there. You know, the 1% of the 1%. Am I right, Ken?
I bet you he would drive Donald Trump. He's one of the richest in our country.
Here's what we need to do. You know, next time the election, we're out of work now, right? Why don't we go and vote and put those fat cats in Washington?
I like that.
You know? Let them see what the working man does for them, right? That's who built this country, the working man. You know? Anyway,
Okay.
I got to get off my soapbox.
All right. This is Spencer Berger's Summer of Streaming Stand-Up Specials, and now it's time for my number 1 choice. But before I can tell you guys, Ron, Gail, and Chris, I have to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for this?
This song makes me want to smoke crack.
I always think of Michael Jordan.
Right.
Okay. You guys want to guess the last one?
I do. I believe it's Rory Scovel.
No.
Oh, no. He's on number 5.
Oh, you're saying you can't be 5 and 1?
They got to be ranked only once. They can't be ranked twice.
You
All
ready
right.
for this?
I have a guess. Is it Trevor Noah's Are You Afraid of the Dark? Afraid of the Dark.
Wrong. Nope.
Not Are You Afraid of the Dark, the popular.
Is it
From my
Eddie
childhood.
Murphy Raw?
I hate to tell you this. Wrong.
Old Baby, Maria Bamford.
Sorry,
Baby.
nope.
I happen to know this is the biggest selling album of all time, Michael Jackson, Thriller. It's a thriller.
That actually is not one of his newest things, so it would have to be the most recent. He was all the way in the past,
Okay.
like 1984 or something.
Right.
But if
1984 was
it
Van
would have been a
Halen.
great. It would have been listed on one of my classic song lists
I love
from back
that.
in the day. But you want me to give you the last one?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Number 1, we got Joe Coy.
Joe Coy, live from Seattle.
Yes, at least you got that part right. It's Joe Coy live from Seattle.
Now,
We'll also be having his Unmasked.
yeah, that's coming up in
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock hour today. It's fantastic. I'll say this: it's fantabulous. I would go that far.
It's
fantastic.
supercalifragilistic.
Wow, I love that.
That's cool.
Gotta love Mary Poppins.
Who?
You have to.
Mary Poppins. Have you heard of the Broadway show Mary Poppins or the movie?
No.
What?
Hey, don't judge me, dude.
Oh my God, it was a classic.
Okay, but I'm not from around here.
Oh, I thought you were a native New Yorker.
No, I'm not.
Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Delaware County, right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, are you familiar with Delco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delaware.
Well, I was born in Chester, moved to Chichester, and that's when things really start to kick in for me. You know, T.O. boy, Twin Oaks. You know what T.O. stands for, right? Watch out, motherfucker. I ain't playing games with you. That's what we always say.
Damn.
That was our old saying. Chris Stanley, could you plug Street Jokes again, please?
That's Street
You all
Jokes.
ready for this?
You all ready? Street Jokes is happening Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. You go to the ibang.com for free tickets.
That was good, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think he nailed it that time.
For once. What are your favorite Wire stories up right now? I mean, I got a kick out of the one that you were talking about, Gail, where people are cursing more.
Yeah, so it seems like people are becoming more and more comfortable using curse words, or as I call them, cuss words, because I was from the South.
Cuss, yeah.
Cussing. And people are more comfortable meeting people for the first time and not feeling like, oh, is that something they're comfortable? It's just like society is more comfortable with using words that used to be very taboo.
I think that is very true. I no longer think that you're like, I think it would be almost considered rude, something that you heard when I was younger. Hey, there's a lady present.
Yes.
People used to say, don't talk like that in front of a lady. And now you're like a disgusting weirdo if you said that. You'd be the bad person.
Yeah, you would be very a strange person. Or you just assume, I mean, I know I do it all the time. I assume I meet someone new. And if I'm talking about something, and I'm just like, yeah, it was fucking crazy. It was really weird. I wouldn't think that person's going to go, oh my God.
I assume they have cable.
Yeah, like exactly. I would be much more confused if somebody went, oh my goodness, I can't.
Well, let's just see this way. Jen, do you curse in front of your parents?
Oh, yeah. And vice versa.
And would feel weird if we cursed in front of them?
No, no, not at all.
Would you feel weird, Gail, if anybody cursed in front of me and your mom?
No, I would not feel weird.
Would you feel weird if they cursed in front of your grandparents?
I would feel weird because I just know that they're more sensitive to that stuff and always have been. Mm-hmm. And I never even had to be told that. For some reason, my mom said that I just knew.
You did.
Nobody ever said, hey, by the way, we use these words in this house, but you want to be careful. I just had a sense of them. Like, it's like I knew that they were like off limits words.
Of course, we know better to even ask you. Vita, what about you? Would you feel weird if we cursed in front of your mom?
No, I learned how to curse from Leslie, so she's pretty down with cursing.
Now, Spencer's going to be a wild card here. Spencer, curse in front of your parents?
Depends usually.
On what?
Well, if I ever forget something or like if they get too crazy sometimes, then it's rare that I do, but if they really get out of hand, then that's when I put it.
If they get out of hand, what we have to say to them?
I don't really want to say anything, but like I would just drop some bombs, but it's very rare that happens.
When you say drop bombs, you mean the N-bomb?
No. Like F-bombs.
That would be really...
F-bombs, shit.
So like...
Shit bombs.
So like if...
Shit bombs and fuck bombs.
Fuck bombs. So like if there's a situation, your parents are doing something that said, you can't do that, and you would get really emotional about it.
Yeah,
and you're
like I would sometimes say, oh God, that is so fucked up. That is so fucked up. Or I would say, oh my God, this is bullshit.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
And did you get in trouble when you were younger for saying?
When I was younger, a couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Never cursed in front of my parents in my life. Cursed like a sailor by the time I was 5 out on the street.
Yeah.
Always cursed on the street. Even I was like a little kid where people say, do you have to cuss so much?
Yeah.
And I go, what the fuck do I care? I'm smoking a fucking cigarette. You know what I mean? Like my whole thing of playing on the streets with my friend was, are we getting some fucking cigarettes and we're going to fucking smoke them? I loved cursing. I loved it.
I was the same way. I loved cursing so much. And that's just interesting because those are two different scenarios. One, those words were taboo in your house and not allowed. And mine was like a more comfortable environment where those words were being said. And yet I was the same exact. I love to curse because I always felt like, how else am I going to tell you how much I mean this thing that I'm saying to you? It was very difficult to imagine. But like, I think it's hilarious watching little kids curse. Like, if I hear a kid on the street now and he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like a 7-year-old. It's hilarious to me.
It is funny to me, too.
Like, my God. My boyfriend's mom told me the story about him. And she was like, she never let them curse when they were little. Mm-hmm. But she was like one of those moms who would get upset if the kids cursed, but she would be like, what the fuck? But then she would be upset if the kid said it. And she said that my boyfriend was maybe like 5 years old and some kid broke his tricycle outside. And she said he's on the porch and doesn't know she's standing there. And she hears him just like, fucking piece of shit, motherfucker. She had never heard him say one thing. And he's kicking his fucking broken bike. Like, so she like drags him in the house and does the whole old school bit with the soap in the mouth. And I go, why would you do that when you curse so much? Like, why would you be confused?
And why do you think you can cure someone of language?
You can't.
Like, I used to feel that way until I got some soap in my mouth.
And then I changed my mind.
Now, this is the weird thing about my family. There was no fucks, no cocks, no pussies, right?
Yeah.
But racist things.
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, that's weird.
Very comfortable by saying how they are.
Right, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd?
It's very...
Now, today, those are the unacceptable phrases.
100%.
Yeah.
That if you heard... That would be the thing that you would not want to try out in front of some strangers.
Yes, or hear your children say.
Let's just hear if they're cool with this. I'll test the waters on this. I'll drop something light first, see if they pick it up.
Or imagine like if you heard your 5-year-old say, you know what? Stop acting like a Puerto Rican.
What?
But those things, they were fine.
Yeah.
Any of those kind of cursing, I never heard anyone say, don't you dare use that word. But we never said any of the other, what I see is much more harmless curse words.
Yeah. Now, would you say you have a favorite curse word? Like, what do you think is like your go-to curse word?
Well, you mean to use?
Yeah, just...
I don't see how you can get out of something that can be a noun, a verb, an adjective, and an adverb. But I'm talking about all the ways you can use fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that you could call someone a fucking dumb fuck is amazing. When neither one of those things has anything to do with the act of fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
None of it.
As a matter of fact, very rare did you ever hear somebody going, I fucked her. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
I remember like 2 years ago, I fucked her. You never hear the word used. That would be like, hey, where's that come from? Yes. Where's that come from?
What if that person said, we fucking had sex, dude?
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, cool.
We fucking made love, me and her.
I mean, all over the place.
Normally, even if someone said, like, he fucked me, or I got fucked, or he fucked me in my ass, they don't actually mean it. Right. Those aren't the times.
Right.
You won't ever hear a guy say, hey, great news last night. Fucked in the ass. Must have been for about 45 minutes, too.
Right.
But it's, so you're not going to get out of that. That word is unbelievably the most important word in the English language.
It's genius.
Yeah.
And I would say there are specific ways of using fuck that are my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Like, for example, I like fucked in the past tense.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucked. We're all fucked.
We're all fucked.
That's great.
And then I also like motherfuck just right there. Not motherfucker.
Right.
Like, you motherfucked this whole situation.
I like that too.
And now we're all motherfucked. And I hope you know that. So you just motherfucked me is what you just did to me? You motherfucked me. Great. Thank you. I don't know what it is about that word, but specifically motherfucked is like the funniest thing to me.
I mean, even the first time I ever heard, well, you could go take a flying fuck. Whoa. That took us to a whole new place. But I remember the first time I was like 5. Did someone call me a motherfucker? I was throwing hands a second later because all I could picture was the literal thing. Right. He's actually saying I have sex with my mother. That's the worst thing I've heard. And I fought for a while, and people were like, and then I was like, catching on, I'm like, okay, he just said somebody was a cool motherfucker.
Right.
Which, in my opinion, is impossible to do. Chris, do you have a word?
Well, I use fuck more than any other word in my vocabulary. I say it constantly. But as I've grown older and it's become more acceptable, I like saying cunt a lot. I think
it's the British thing.
Yeah. I like saying it.
You do use it a lot. And I will say this, that I enjoyed it for many years because I felt like it was still that word that people would go, whoa, what did you do? Why did you say that? Jesus Christ. And I enjoyed it because I felt very, like, as a woman, I was like, yeah, I'm allowed to say this. This is like, I really fucking mean this if I say it. But now I feel like everyone's got there. And now it's going the way of fuck. It's just like, it's starting to get a little bit too comfortable.
Means nothing to me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
but when I was a kid, fight would start when you said cunt, and never say cunt in front of a woman.
Oh, yeah.
In college, I think even cunt was.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%. 100%. It was still like, if you dropped to say, like, you are being a cunt, it was like, whoa, they're about to physically fight. They're about to physically fight because now the word of words has been said. But now you're like, I don't know, this fucking cunt comes in here, she's acting like that. And then the person's like, yeah, no, totally. Totally. She's acting like a real cunt. And it's just like, that's it.
And it's only because we got so used to the Brits.
Yeah.
Although the other day somebody got mad when I said, can I please see your cunt? And they're like, wow.
Oh,
yeah. Spencer, what's your favorite curse word out of all of them?
I would say kind of like bitch.
Usually
what I would say is like if I were to forget something, if my dad forgets something or drops his, like, he would go like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Son of a bitch is still, and like the way I've said it is kind of how I enjoy it. Like, a real son of a bitch.
like that Chris Stanley, he's a real son of a bitch. You can count on him. You can count on this bitch. This bitch is a bastard. Vito, what's your favorite? Fongu?
Just like using the word shit, it just is the best because not only is, I think, every other term shit is bad. Like, I'm not going to say dump. I don't like the word duty. I genuinely think to say I'm going to the bathroom, saying I have to take a shit is the best way to do it.
I think it's terrible.
It's bad.
I don't like to think about it. I don't like to think of anything coming out of your asshole. Also, I don't like this use of it when someone calls their cock their shit.
Yeah.
It's like I have my shit out.
Yeah.
I would never do
And you're
that.
like, what are you talking? But people say it all the time now.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like it because we don't want to think of your dick as poop. It's just like it's not.
Oh, my friend Chris, he has a penis that's made completely of shit. They bonded it together.
Now, when you use it in like outside of it, will you say like, "This is shit. This is bullshit"? Do you still like it?
I'll say bullshit a lot. I've never said this is shit. Like, I've never used that term, but I definitely say bullshit a lot. But 90% of the time, it's just about going to the bathroom.
Oh, God.
So you just like talking about poop as well?
No, I'm just saying I prefer to use that term over every, like,
Do me a favor, never use it with me. If I ask you where you're going, say none of your business.
Or at least change it to duties.
No, duty is the worst
Why
word
did
in
you
the world.
Why did he pluralize it? I'm gonna make duties
because he's never just had a single. He calls them sand pebbles. Chris, plug away, please. We're trying to push fucking street jokes.
Street Jokes. It's happening Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. You go to the ibang.com for free tickets.
By the way, could you please, for once in your life, plug Joe Coy coming up tonight all weekend?
2 p.m. Joe Coy on Mass is coming up. His special, Joe Coy Live in Seattle. It's on Netflix, and his new show,
You Show.
Inglorious Pranksters, is on the left.
Why would you go to You Show? That's what fucked you up.
New show, Inglorious
Look,
Pranksters.
Just stop trying
news. It's not news.
Okay.
It isn't news. It's prank stuff.
Is that what he said?
Let me tell you, the pranks go a little too far in that thing for me. I got a little uncomfortable a couple of times. I'm like, someone's going to get hurt bad.
That's
it's not like
gaslighting.
he's fucking setting it up. People send him pranks, and if he likes them, he'll put them in. But they're
Right.
terrible people, and they're doing terrible things.
Oh God. Yeah, that kind of stuff makes me very nervous.
Here was the funniest one. I'm going to say it's some country in Africa, the kid says, and his dad, I don't think they're in Africa at the time. I think they're over here. But his dad is like, I don't know, Kenyan or something like that. He's old school. And then he says to his dad, I got my girlfriend pregnant. And he's like, you what? How old is she? And he's like, she's 14. The dad's losing his shit. The dad goes over and takes a stick. And he looks like he's going to beat this kid to death with it. And he goes, Dad, it's a prank. It's just a prank. He goes, she's not pregnant? No. I was like, oh my God, you made me think. Like he was just like, oh, instead of beating you to death, I'm just going to be relieved.
How can we move on from this, Dad?
But the thing is, can you imagine, like when you're a kid, you're like, yes, Dad, I got her pregnant. Stop it. You know what I mean? It happened. but now when I think about a 14-year-old getting pregnant, I could throw up on the floor.
Oh, I know.
But I remember being that age and everybody would be like, man, don't worry. We're going to get it fixed. Just go back and play for your team. Yeah, she's just pregnant. Go play for your team. They were saying to me, abortion's been legal for 3 years now. So don't worry about a thing. I know we got a break again, Chris, but Joe Coy a little later on in the show. And please come to Street Jokes. It's remarkably bigger with people in the business, and it's growing on people in the industry right now. Street Jokes. I'm with you. I think Comedy 101 is the
crown
crazy,
jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got the third idea we haven't even worked on yet.
I know.
I think is our mass appeal one. Yeah,
it has an aspect of it that I think everybody would be into.
It could be on NBC. Well, I don't see these other shows.
No, this is for the Fringe.
Yeah, this is fucking for the Fringe Festival. Spencer, fix your cuticles, and then we're going to have a break here, okay? But seriously, I want them to look nice when we get back. Chris, this weekend, you and I are recording something, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So fucking remember that, and then text me 18 times like you normally do.
I will text you long texts of the same message.
He actually texted me last night, boss, can I call you boss?
Oh, God,
just
Chris.
Stop it with the boss stuff.
Chief?
You do say boss a lot.
I do say it, yeah.
Do you say it like boss?
Boss.
Sometimes he calls me boss man, and that's uncomfortable.
You call him Mr. Boss Man.
I thought boss man is more comfortable.
Do you notice that not one other person calls me boss?
No.
Or boss man? Does that matter?
No.
Or as you called me the other night, big boss man?
Oh, no.
I think I'm saying it as respectful. And I think everyone else is being disrespectful for you by not calling you boss man.
Vito, you're a fan of Big Boss Man, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, I never talk about Gail's brother because he's like, he doesn't want to be in this. But when he was a little kid, we're at the matches, right? And the Big Boss Man is coming down, he's swinging his stick. And by the way, the Big Boss Man has never been a face once in his life, correct? He's always straight heel. So he's coming down, he's the boss man and everything. And he sees him, he's a little kid at the time, like 3 or 4 years old. And he just looks over at him, and he was just the cutest curly-headed kid. And he just kisses him on top of the head. What? He stops, the Big Boss Man kisses him on top of the head. And this fucking kid was like, what? And we're like, did he just kiss you on the head? And he's like, no. He was like already trying to distance himself. At 4, a kid will lie to you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like an adult can never put up. And we're like, well, it's going to be on TV next Saturday. This was like Saturday matches. It wasn't even like the major shit. But to this day, we don't know why he stopped and did that.
No. And, immediately he felt weird about it. So why not keep bringing it up? And look who it is. It's Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
Shut up, dude.
Yeah. We're like, you guys want to go out for ice cream or get a kiss on the head? Big Boss Man. But to this day, it made no sense and it didn't fit his character.
It wasn't.
Except for he was just really an adorable
if
kid.
Bret Hart came over and kissed him on the head, sure. Big Boss Man?
Especially back then when kayfabe was like so important.
Yeah. Yeah, they would not break kayfabe at all in those days. And I would remember they would even say to me, and I'd be friends with those guys, let's just see what happens tonight. Let's just see if we can pull this off.
I mean, we're all friends here. We can.
What time do you win? I don't know whether I'm going to win. You're fighting a guy from Jersey. All right, why don't we break here, Chris?
Yes.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay.
Employee man? Okay? Is that how am I supposed to refer to you? Right back. Plug Street Jokes one more time.
Street Jokes, that's happening Wednesday, August 22nd, 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. Go to ibang.com for free tickets.
And we have a guest coming up next, do we not?
Logan Heftel. He's the official.
Oh, I love Logan.
He's the official archivist for the Carlin estate. I mean, there's a post up on the
Right, just take your time.
Okay.
It's George Carlin, not the Carlin estate. he is the guy who has archived. This is one of my favorite people in the world. And he has archived all of George's material and brought it back. And he said to me that one of the live albums was done at the same place. Bowie's live album was done in 73. And he goes, if you listen to the beginning of it, you'll hear the sound of that era. It sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that freaks me out. I just love that thought. So he's had that. Well, upstate in Jamestown, they are putting together a comedy center, and they bought all this stuff of Carlin's. And Carlin had kept fucking everything. So there's little notes of his writing, there's ideas for jokes, there's full written out things, as well as the recordings themselves. He recorded everything at clubs so you could hear the material change. So this, they just did something at the Lucy Fest for this, but they will be doing this as a permanent exhibit. And I can't wait to go up and check it out. So he's coming up next.
Yes. Logan Heftel.
And he's also a songwriter, so we're going to come back with one of his songs.
Very cool.
Right back, Bennington.
Yeah! Beautiful!
Logan Heftel's in studio. That's his song, Ithaca. Logan's a Carlin Estates archivist, and the Stuff I Saved George Carlin exhibit will be open to the public at the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York in the summer of 2018. Go to comedycenter.org for more information, and on Twitter, @Logan Heftel.
And Ithaca, does that give us the full upstate feeling that we're all after here today?
It's really it's based off of Cavafy's poem, Ithaca, with a K, which was Jacqueline Kennedy's favorite poem and Taylor Negron's favorite poem. And he and I wrote that song together when he was in New York. We were in New York towards the end of his life, and it was actually the last song that we wrote together. He brought out the poem and said, I want to do a song based on these lyrics. And it's about the Odyssey. It's about, looking at your life as the experience being the reward, and that destination never quite ending up the way you thought.
Right.
And
not the life you wanted, but the life you got.
That's right.
I love that, man.
Thank you.
Now, Taylor Negron only would have had to do one thing, in my opinion, and that was the pizza guy, Fast Times. Yes. Everything after that was just extra. But it always goes to show that you could have a walk-on part that is so important to the movie. And I don't know how he did it. But it was just like the I don't give a shit guy. Somebody's paying for this pizza.
Yeah.
So great. How did you and he become friends before we get into the Carlin stuff?
So in 2007, I was living in Spokane, Washington, and I moved to California by calling a friend who lived down here from high school and said, do you happen to need a roommate? And he did. So he flew up. We drove. He had been my drummer previously. So we drove down from Spokane. We stopped in Salt Lake City on a Sunday morning. We'd been driving all night. And, Kerry Grafmiller, my drummer then, he goes into the bathroom. He's gone a very long time. He comes back out, starts screaming at me, cursing, flips me off, makes this huge scene in a crowded Starbucks Sunday morning, Salt Lake City. We finally calm him down. He turns out somebody had peered over the stall at him, and he flipped out, chased him outside, came in extremely angry, made this huge scene. Taylor Negron's reading the newspaper next to us. watching this whole thing play out. He just leans in at one point and goes, "I'm sorry to interrupt, but did that just happen to you?" Carrie's like, "Just now in that bathroom." Taylor goes, "That is disgusting. That's unacceptable. And it's going to happen a lot more." So the world is a horrible place. More to come. And we didn't know who he was. We told him we were musicians moving to L.A. He was in town shooting a movie, which he said was the Japanese High School Musical 5. And he said, "I'll be back in L.A. in a week. Here's my phone number. If you get into a car accident, I won't be able to help you." And we called him, and he was doing a one-man show set to the music of Lily Hayden, a violinist. And he invited us to the show at the M Bar, which is no longer there. And it was the best thing I'd ever seen. It was Taylor's storytelling set to the music of Lily Hayden. And I, at the end of the night, was like, I want to do something exactly like that.
So you didn't even know his career?
Once we got to talking to him, we realized Angels in the Outfield was a big one. For I vividly remember going to a birthday party where we just watched Angels in the Outfield in second grade. But and then we obviously Seinfeld, Friends, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, as you mentioned. So he had over 100 IMDb credits. He was known as a character actor, but he really was an artist. He treated his life like an art project. And he was a brilliant painter and writer and stand-up comic. Rick Overton said he was one of the centers of a pond ripple in the comedy boom in the 80s. He was a voice people imitated.
Right. Yeah, I felt the same way about him. The fact that you got to write with him, that's pretty amazing. Cool. That's pretty fun.
It was.
Your life is strange.
My life is very strange. It can all be traced back to that Starbucks, actually, everything I'm doing now.
But I got to say, too, that song reminded me of early Simon and Garfunkel, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does.
And I've had Art Garfunkel on the show, and I still, to this day, feel like he's one of the most underrated performers. For somebody that everybody knows their name, a lot of people act like, well, he's the Garfunkel. Like, there's something bad about that. But I don't know if Paul Simon would have ever broke out without Art Garfunkel. That voice is unbelievable.
Yeah, and no one else has that voice. It's so unique. Like, it's so specifically.
And Paul started writing for it right away.
Yeah.
Paul started writing these songs knowing he had a guy.
With this, like, angel voice. That was,
literally. Yeah, for a Jewish guy, he's got an Irish angel's voice.
Yeah.
I got to see him in L.A. about a year ago, and I went to the show thinking it was going to be a huge arrangement with lots of backup singers. Yeah. There was one guitarist and him walk out. He doesn't say a word. He goes right into April, She Will Come. And then a pianist joined them, and that was it. Nobody else sang harmony. It was his voice carried the whole thing. It was I was not expecting it.
And
amazing.
He's in his 70s now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that voice has been, used for 50 years.
And is his voice still at that same quality level?
He comments on it. He does some songs in lower keys, and he actually lost his voice a few years ago, had to relearn how to sing. But his voice now is just pure and rich and really strong.
Literally one of those guys that was born with something. You know what I mean? Born with something.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into... and you're working on this exhibit as well, because I know that you do the tapes of George, but are you involved with some of the physical stuff from his life?
Yes. So this exhibit, Stuff I Saved, actually just closed. It was a temporary preview exhibit for the Lucy Comedy Festival and Chautauqua Institution Comedy Week that just took place last week. The full George Carlin exhibit will be much larger. It will be opening with the museum next year. Laura LaPlaca, the director of archives at the National Comedy Center, and I put together Stuff I Saved. And I had gone through the tapes mostly with Kelly. I had gone through the trunks and his archives at Kelly's house when it was there. I helped her box it up and ship it to the National Comedy Center when they acquired it. And then Laura received it. She preserved his organization. She has done many celebrity archives processing, and she said when she got it, she took one look at it and realized, like, my job is done for me. Like, the way this guy cataloged and saved his own life, is really unique. So instead of imposing her own organization as far as alphabetical or chronological, she retained his organization.
Interesting.
Every piece of paper is in the same order that it was, even though it's now in.
And like, was there
files.
a method to what he was doing there? Like, did he have a system that was specific, or did it seem like it was just
It's like
in his own mind and it was hard to decipher what it was?
It's like he had the way his mind worked. You can see the relation between the way he organized his things and the way he came up with material for the stage. And he, for example, there's a career history section of these archives that are all handwritten scraps indicating 1950s, 1960s pre-beard is what he wrote.
Oh man,
Early 70s
awesome.
stuff. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and he saved scraps of newspaper clippings, reviews. He saved, ticket stubs and stubs from the Tonight Show and from movie lots and contracts and all this. And his wife Brenda put together these scrapbooks all along the early parts of his career. And he had, the first set from this Tonight Show, a lot of the TV appearance set lists, and he also had joke files. He would routinely, Kelly talks about it in her show. He would write down notes on hotel paper, scraps of pads, random things. They would accumulate around the house, and he would routinely gather them up, classify them, and store them in Ziploc bags. And then he would file those Ziploc bags. So what he left was these files of folders of Ziploc bags of scraps of paper. And
now, did he save those for George Carlin, or did he save them for the world?
A little of both, it feels like.
Yeah.
He had his own sense of mortality is kind of resonant in what he left and what he saved. Like, Stuff I Saved came from his handwriting. We felt like he named this exhibit, and it really felt like he was very aware of his impact on the culture and 20th century American stand-up comedy, and he knew that people would be going through this. And so as he's organizing his thoughts for his own material, you can see scraps of paper that, like, one under the death file said, something like, "Saw him just the other day, didn't stop him from dying." And that you can hear that joke developed out on his last special, It's Bad For You. It became a longer little routine.
So you get to see this small thing that was going to echo into something much larger, which, people always wonder about creativity, and particularly with George, people thought, oh, he walked on stage and this stuff flowed. But this stuff was worked on for a long time.
It really was. It was like word for word. He really did approach things.
All right, so let's go to the top here. This is up on the iBang today. And right at the top, what is this poster from?
That is a sideways entrance poster, and it's that is the entrance that's right outside the door of the entrance for the Stuff I Saved exhibit.
And that's signed by him. That's
his handwriting. Yeah,
amazing. By the way, I have seen this kind of stuff for presidents or novelists or whatever, and even some rock people. But I love the fact that this is being done for George now, and it's being done
really
with
cool.
comedy in mind. Chris, move along.
I have no memory of that being taken.
There you are. And what are you in front of?
This is in front of the Brenda scrapbooks section. They're among the most fragile items in his collection. There were these handmade scrapbooks of his career that his wife Brenda made, and so we were able to scan a lot of them and reproduce them here so people could see a bit of what Brenda did.
Now, you guys open this as almost like a pre-show.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be permanent in Jamestown.
Yes, the permanent exhibit will be different. It's being designed by Stephen Morrison, the executive producer of History of Comedy on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
I'm consulting on it. Laura's consulting on it. There's a big team involved with a lot of cool interactive ideas for this permanent exhibit. This one, we wanted to approach it as it's a temporary exhibit. We want to really communicate his organization. It was not an exhibit about his career or autobiography. It was about his archive and the way he organized it.
Now, when this is all done, was privately. Deborah took some of these pictures, but you were with some other comics at the time, right?
Yes, Deborah came. Louis Black was there. Kamal Bell was there. Cliff Nestoroff, Alan Zweibel,
So these heavy hitters, right?
Yeah.
And this is always fascinating to me. Did they say, "Oh, I relate to this," or "Man, that mine works differently than mine"?
It was like Lewis and Kamau really seemed to get into it. We had some audio there from Summerfest 1972 that had never been heard before. It was when he was famously arrested after stage. We played the last 2.5 minutes of that show where they cut his mic off during
You just
7
hear
words.
it happening.
You just
in real
hear
time.
it happening. And Robert Klein came through, and it was, George Carlin did the second HBO special. Robert Klein did the first one.
Right.
And the other screen up there had a Carson appearance and his set list beside it for the panel appearance. So he had these jokes listed out for everything he was going to hit on the panel, and you can just watch him do it. And when Robert Klein saw that, he was just like, "Oh yeah, you have to be prepared," and just walks on.
Well, Klein is an actual peer of George. There's very few people who could say, "I was there at the same time doing the same stuff." But Klein is like, "Well, how's this? Why would this be of interest?" But yes, when you're not doing that, you know what I mean? Like it's always fascinating. What are we looking at here?
This is the tapes section. So among his archives was cassette tapes, reel-to-reel tapes, DVDs, CDs. He had his first reel-to-reel recorder when he was 13. His mom bought it for him. And on a box set a few years back, they released some of his childhood recordings where he was, from a very early age, practicing his characters, practicing his radio voice.
My God.
Always wanted to be a radio guy too.
Yeah.
Right? Always, like I've heard George talk about that. He was like, "I'll do radio, and that'll take me into stand up, and that'll take me into movies." And he was a little kid, trying to figure out, well, how you just don't become a movie star. So I will get this radio show. They'll hear it. They'll want to come and hear me do it live. And then that'll let them know that I could be a movie star.
At 13 years old, he's recording himself, working on these characters, voices he's going to do, stuff like that.
Yeah, just playing. You really hear him just trying stuff out and getting used to doing characters. And by the time he gets to being 20 years old, he is in Boston with NBC Radio, and he met Jack Burns. They haven't yet really set out to be Burns and Carlin. But he was part of the tapes he saved came out on the album we put out, I Kinda Like It When a Lot of People Die. It was a home recording of him from age 20, just riffing. And at this exhibit, we showed a little bit of the audio he saved, the Summerfest cassette, and the Carson VHS, and the set list. So all of those pieces we're showing were actual physical things he had saved.
I love this so much. When you go to Pittsburgh, there's the Andy Warhol Museum, and Andy Warhol was also a pack rat.
Yeah.
Which I guess at one point, and then it's archival stuff.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
you just have to get some success.
Some people have a garage full of shit, and other people like, thank God.
Right.
But like he would also tape conversations and stuff, and it becomes far fascinating after the fact. Years go by, and now you can say, I could hear this little kid and know that this was the early sparks of this creative fire coming, or the fact that a lot of people wouldn't know that he worked with Jack Burns and went off to be very successful in his own right. But if they would have stayed together, maybe it would have been the worst thing that ever happened to either of them.
Yeah.
I love those kind of thoughts. What do we have here?
This is Kamau Bell listening to the Summerfest audio.
So great.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. Kamau is amazing, by the way. He was a keynote speaker in conversation with Kelly Carlin at Chautauqua, and Deborah did a great write-up on that. That was just an amazing event and a great conversation.
Thousands of people in that community showed up, and I'm like, when I saw that picture, I'm like, it was just this giant amount of people who came out just to hear those two talking about comedy. So the fact that this place is going to be there, this place that it almost reminds me of ancient Greece, the way they pay attention to music and philosophy, and they do this all summer long, and the arts, and now a big part of stand-up comedy. And, people go out and doing sets, and there's 2,000 people to watch them do it. It's fantastic. What are we looking at here?
This is the joke files. That's Laura standing next to the. We had 2 shadow boxes displaying 2 of his Ziploc bags with the categories in them next to some of the handwritten notes. So, as I mentioned, he gathered these notes, stored them in Ziploc bags. He would classify them. There's a quote on the wall next to there that said, "What his first boss told him: a good idea is of no use to you unless you can find it. So you have to classify it." So he was very OCD about organization, and a lot of these notes are really just, most of them, there's no direct line to any routine. They're just some spark of an idea somewhere, and he had this way of just gathering volume and grouping like concepts to then he would be able to go back and just new doors would open by association of what he had gathered over time. We had 2 tablets there that you could scroll through more notes as well. One from his euphemisms fold Ziploc bag and one from his religion Ziploc bag.
Now, do you think he often went back through that stuff, or it was just a backup to the hard drive in his mind?
I feel like he did.
Yeah.
He talks about it in interviews a lot, and I think he also, a lot of this ended up on computer files, and once he started working on computers, that, he talks about that opening up a whole new possibility because you could put up multiple windows and compare things, on a screen. I think the hard drive in his mind was obviously the engine behind the whole thing.
Sure.
But, it really is incredible to just see a brain represented physically, like this laid out. Several people came up to me and asked, "Do I organize my life this way?" I was like, no, but we all should. That's really the one lesson here. Is like, I feel like a lot of people, me certainly, I think it's really easier to just avoid the idea of mortality and not want to keep a journal, not want to organize your stuff, not want to ever think about the fact that somebody else is going to have to go through this when you're gone.
But you also have to have enough ego, I guess, to think this will be interesting to someone after I'm gone. Like 100 years from now, somebody might be able to use this.
Right.
Here's what I'd love to compare this to. I don't know whether you even know this, but Melissa Rivers is going through this now.
Yes.
And Joan was also
a note taker,
a note taker and a note saver. And a lot of it ended up in, just in her apartment, but also storage places. And I'd be curious to see that these 2 people who kind of broke into the business at the same time were similar and how they were different, And neither one of them thought, oh, all this stuff needs to be transferred to a computer. I think they liked the fact that it was physical and they could pick it up.
Yeah, she had almost like a library shelf of index cards.
Yes.
I love the story she told you about the note from Lenny Bruce. George and her both got the same note.
That's so sweet. Yeah. I love that story.
About the audience, and it just said, "You're right, they're wrong." And they both... first of all, when Joan told me that story with George, it just crushed me just to think the 2 of them were, starting together, but then they could sit back years later, have their success, but still miss Lenny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To know that both of them loved Lenny.
And that Lenny had an impact on both of those.
Yeah.
Who's to say what that meant to them in that moment,
Sure.
and when that pushed them through something, and in that way making him such an important catalyst maybe to something,
Sure.
an idea. It's really, really sweet.
But also, I think because of, age groups, this happens, that comedically, Lenny was the love of their life. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of us have that with George because that's the first person, and he's stuck to whatever, things that when you're a kid, you're like, hey, I like his standards. He's up against the man. And the fact that he never gave that up. He always was on the outside. There's plenty of comedians that feel that way about George, but you see, here's George and Joan have that same love for somebody else, who's long gone. I'm loving this, and this is all going to be a permanent thing.
Yes, Jamestown, New York is the hometown of Lucille Ball, and her vision, her dream was for it to be the destination for comedy mecca. And so the National Comedy Center is making that happen. They're building a huge permanent center. It's part museum, part interactive comedy experience, and it's really all encompassing. It's not just stand up, it's late night, it's cartoons, it's everything about comedy.
It's interesting to have that because, and also that it's a smaller town that has it, because this is what happens when you go to sports Hall of Fames. If you go to Canton, Ohio, you're like, well, what the hell's here? Well, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is there. And you walk through that, you see cleats that were worn by, people at various things. So to have this for comedy, and it seems like through grants and other people giving money, it looks like they've got some money to do this, right?
It's underway. Yeah. They're funded and under construction. It's happening. I got the walk through the whole grounds, and it's really cool what's going on.
And they had major headliners there like Kamal and everything, and Kevin James did a show, and
Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan did a show, and just packed it out. It's so great. What are we looking at here?
There's Kelly in front of the scrapbook wall, in front of photos of her mom, Brenda, and the wedding photos with George and Brenda, and the Summerfest audio in the corner there. This is Kelly telling the story of, she was 9 years old in 1972, and she was at the show in Milwaukee in Summerfest. And so from her perspective, she's backstage with her mom, Brenda. Now, what happened there is it's an outdoor festival, and George is on stage complaining about everything because comedy's too fragile for the outdoors. And this is he's like, I hope I get to see you all again when we can be inside and we can be near each other and we can have an experience. But he's trying to get through his material. He was there to open for Arlo Guthrie, and the amplifiers, or the sound system, was echoing far outside of the grounds that people who'd paid to see the show were there. So families are walking around. He's cursing throughout the show. Police are called. They show up. Brenda knows that in his pocket is cocaine and marijuana. She grabs a glass of water and walks out on stage, and you can hear him kind of pause, and he goes, "Oh, hey, honey, okay, cool." And then there's kind of murmuring in the crowd, and he says, "Oh, no, it's all right. She tells me I got to split soon," and everybody starts. But you would think at that point, because she says the cops are here, exit stage left. You would think at that point he would exit stage left and try to escape. This is the moment he goes into 7 words you can never say on television.
Does it to
words are all we have. There are 400,000 words in the English language, and only 7 of them you can't say on television. Now, this is July 1972. Class Clown was recorded in May of 1972, but it didn't come out until September. So this audience has never heard this routine before. And he goes into the 7 words. He says the 7 words. He starts down the playfulness around, tits doesn't belong on the list. Sounds like a snack. New Nabisco tits. And they start cutting his mic, and you can hear him carry on through the routine as the mic's cutting in and out. And then he goes, "This is the ultimate now, man. This is just how it should end." And it's cut. And he walks off stage after this. They stash the drugs in the drum set. He gets arrested. Kelly's 9 years old. A balloon pops. She thinks it's a gunshot. She starts losing it. But Brenda knew what to do because George and Lenny Bruce had been arrested in 1962. She knew to go get a civil rights attorney. They got him out that day. Ended up being great publicity for him. And that's Summerfest. But this,
and we get to hear that. We get to listen to that.
Yeah.
Well, that routine, which is why when I started in radio, hear the 7 words you can't say, because somebody played that bit on the air.
Right.
And the FCC cracked down. So they would literally, there weren't 7 words you can't say. There was a lot more than that.
Right.
But those were, it became, not because George researched it and said he decided on his own. And then literally that became an FCC rule. But if you played it today, it's still an aggressive bit.
Yeah.
There's always bits where you're like, oh, can you believe that was shocking back then? But that bit is so smart, and it's so sarcastic towards an entire way of life. You know what I mean? It's almost like not saying, look at the hypocrisy in TV networks, but look at all of us. It's still offensive.
Well, can I ask you then, do you feel like, because it's so much a part of conversation now, is, oh, everything is so PC and you can't say this and that. When you look at something like this, you know that somebody would not be arrested for having said this bit. Do you think that that's just, words and
things? You could
things?
be still arrested, probably, for saying this bit in public, if they decided to. Each community has this. But I thought what was interesting up there is Kamal did a speech on the side of political correctness and saying that political correctness has saved people. And that's one of the stuff that he and Kelly were discussing. And I think those things need to be discussed all the time.
I do too. And Cliff Nesteroff. So the first thing that happened that week was Lewis Black gave a brilliant speech. Mm-hmm. And in that, he talked about how political correctness has no place in comedy. Then Kamau Bell, 2 days later with Kelly, talks about how political correctness saves lives. The next day, Cliff Nesteroff with Stephen Morrison and Kelly Carlin, Cliff picked up on this and said, okay, people are not using the term political correctness in the same way. And what's happening now is it's being used. It's a very emotionally charged phrase. People immediately have an opinion, but we're having an argument based over a phrase that is not a shared thought.
Right.
Because so when Lewis Black says political correctness has no place in comedy, he's talking about if you judge a joke before the punchline, you're going to miss the point. And if a comedian cannot speak freely, then everything suffers. When Kamau Bell says political correctness saves lives, he's talking about this kind of new co-opted definition of political correctness, the Trump right-wing version of it, which basically is a euphemism for bigotry. To say I'm not politically correct means I don't care that I'm prejudiced.
Right.
And those are two very different definitions. And I was really glad to hear Cliff talk about this because it'd been something that had been bothering me and I've been trying to articulate. I think that we are at a time where it's both can be true. You don't need to limit free speech in order to be a decent person. And if you are abusing people who are in a position that is less, if you are a privileged person taking advantage of less privileged people under the pretense of exercising your First Amendment, you're a dick. And if you're somebody who is on the left trying to fight for the First Amendment at all costs, you're also shutting down thought and argument just simply by being outraged all the time. Mm-hmm. As soon as anybody is even has the appearance of being intolerant, if you just shut down the thought without any consideration into the context of what's being said or the fact that it's okay that people disagree with you, then we're really at a place where nothing can progress and conversations are meaningless.
Well, first of all, bravo to those thoughts about, hey, will we stop all acting like we know what the term PC means? Yeah. And quite frankly, can we even say free speech is a very confusing and thing because people get fired from shows all the time, but hey, he's free to say it. Just, not everybody had the freedom that George had where I don't give a shit. I'll go out and do my show in the next place. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that was a great freedom that George had, that he wasn't tied in. Let's say the Smothers Brothers at about the same time would do anti-Vietnam stuff and they would lose sponsors. We see that happening today to the right and the left. If you express yourself, you lose sponsors because these political groups know how to attack now. They become pretty sophisticated on how you lose anybody's sponsorship. But the whole point of just not shouting down people that you disagree with, but to actually explain to them till they can get around to learning it. And I was saying this, I guess, last week when we had Annie Letterman on the show. And when she was talking about women's rights and some people, I go, it's very hard to take people from a 3 to an 8. You know what I mean? Like, when people can go from like, oh, my belief system is a 3, they can move to a 4, eventually a 5.
Yeah.
But when you're saying it's way up here, you're going to have a long time of people freaking out and disagreeing.
Yeah, but it's so hard with that particular thing because you're like, why would something like women's safety be like an extreme that you would have to work up to?
Because I don't think that she was making a partnership of men with it. Do you see what I'm saying? She was not saying, how are we open to all of us being for women's safety. She was saying, you guys are the enemy and you have to change the way you are. And people don't, no matter who you are, if you're on the right or the left, it's hard to believe that you are the enemy.
Yeah.
But to get back to freedom of speech, to have this kind of thing talked about intelligently, even if it's just the beginning stages of that actually makes me feel very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, I really felt like Cliff hit the nail on the head with that one, and it's what absolutely needs to be talked about right now because George Carlin had a great bit about words, about how thoughts are a fluid thing, and until we assign a word to it, and we don't have a shared understanding of words, we're just both sides are missing each other's point, and nothing gets done.
It is, and this stuff doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? Like in the case of George, it's going to outlive him and probably outlive us and maybe even outlive our grandchildren. But it's no reason that you shouldn't stop trying to discuss these things. All right, any more pics, Chris, or is that it? Anything else for us to see?
Couple more pictures.
Yeah.
There's the career wall. So we had these are from his actual files and scrap and folders that he saved throughout his career. So we kept the organization that he had: 1950s, 1960s pre-beard, 70s stuff, 80s stuff, 90s stuff, and his organization over the last couple decades, it was apparent that he's still in process organizing the last couple of decades of his life. But what he left was 3 storage units that Kelly inherited, and when she went in them, he was in the midst of organizing.
This is amazing. This is amazing to me.
There's more of Brenda's scrapbooks. Yeah. And this is the Chautauqua exhibit. We had 2 simultaneous exhibits going on. That larger one was the Jamestown train station, which is the site of the National Community Center. This is the FM and AM clothing next to his own copy of the album on vinyl, 8-track, and cassette. And his Grammy is right above there. It's not in the photo. But he had received his Grammy Award and in a chemically altered state took it apart. They had to send him a new one. That is the one on display there.
I just love seeing that shirt. I don't know
it's
why.
really sweet.
That is insane to me. But to see that shirt physically exists literally blows me away. I definitely have to make it up to this next year.
And here's the last picture.
Yeah.
The set list.
Great. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just to see that all in his handwriting and to know that it was of that moment. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that you write right before you go out and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the column here on the right is the shows that he's doing.
Yeah, and
I see Carol Burnett's on there.
So this is the year 1978. He's got it straight down the line: January 9th, January 13th, and this is routines and appearances and
How
dates.
Cool.
Just gigs, just gig after gig. And also, you have to remember, let's say 78, people were at the Comedy Store, and people were at the Improv in New York. But for a comedian to be headlining theaters, there's a handful of people who have that kind of career.
Yeah.
At that time, a comedian used to be somebody who went on before, the act.
Yeah.
And actually, if you look at him in 78 that's probably where his career was even in a little bit of a dip, right?
It was coming down. He had 3 gold records, and late 70s, he was having trouble selling out a 400-seater by 1980, and Steve Martin's doing arenas.
Right.
He was in a bit of a lull till 1983. Carnegie Hall was his 3rd HBO special and kind of a big comeback.
Well, it was very rare for the album people, then to become comedy special people. You know what I mean? Like that was.
There were 2 different types of.
There was no such thing as a comedy special.
Yeah,
it was.
It was 2 different ways even to listen to material. I mean, Albert Brooks, when you go back and listen to his stuff, his albums weren't like, a recorded one-time special the way that you would see. Let's say Dennis Miller would have been doing it by the late 80s. It was a completely different animal. I always find the albums be way more intimate than the special. And it worked more for George's kind of comedy. So then, he had to kind of change his presentation when it became a visual way to... It's pretty mind-blowing that he was able to pull this off and be in both of those, to play with both of those generations. Dude, this was so much fun, as it always is with you.
It was such a pleasure to be back here. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is always open for you.
Well,
Anytime
I appreciate
you want
it.
to come in, and certainly I'll be up there next summer when this opens up. That's a promise.
Thank you.
Logan Heftel's been in studio. The full George Carlin exhibit will be open to the public at the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York in the summer of 2018. Go to comedycenter.org for more information, and on Twitter at Logan Heftel.
And as much as seeing these physical things keeps George alive, I think even more is those talks, those debates, those presentations, those speeches. For me, what a way to recognize a life. Thanks again, my friend.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time. Yes. What a great time for you. All right, that's now that came right after we had I'm going to say 15-minute hug.
15-minute hug.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. It all started from I shook someone's hand and it was way over clammy.
Yes.
And it just ruined my whole day, and I'm like, from now on I'm just going to hug.
Right.
But I enjoy hugging. It's better. It feels better when you hug somebody. Handshake is just, I don't know.
This was an uncomfortable amount of hugging, Joe.
But we're different. We're friends, though. We were friends before all of this.
But this went from hugging to mugging. After a while,
yeah.
It felt
That's
like
true.
an assault, and I went to HR.
Yeah.
But
I placed my cheek on your cheek when I hugged.
But I will tell you, this would seem like a hug was the way your audience reacted to you in that last special. That was insane.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Thank you so much.
What is that connection that you have?
I think just sincerity, I guess. Like a lot of people go, I can relate because I'm Filipino. But the one compliment I get the most and that I really like is they just go, I can relate because my mom does that too.
Right.
And it's like yeah, my mom has an accent, but every mom does the same thing to their kids. It doesn't matter if if you're in the Philippines or in Mexico or in Canada. It's like every mom acts the same way. It's just mine just happens to have an accent. That's all.
That is actually true. But that's also traditional in comedy. If you go to Pat Cooper, he was like the first guy to talk about Italian moms.
Yeah.
And Italian people were like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
He was talking about a mom, but it is kind of the same stories. Moms are nuts.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. They're, now that my son's 14, I'm like, I always told my mom, I'd be like, I'm never going to be like you when I have a kid. And now I'm exactly like my mom. Exactly. I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, I'm acting just like my mom.
Well, you brought up the
my son. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my son, I flew him out here because I'm doing the Tonight Show tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I flew him out, and of course he's acting just like I was when I was 14, like he doesn't care that I'm on the Tonight Show.
Sure.
It's like he wants to go shopping. He's like, I want to get these. I want to go to Babe, Dad. And I'm like, your dad's on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll see it on TV. Like, he doesn't even care. But like when he got off the plane, because I came here early and I had to get a driver to drive, and I was acting just like my mom, texting him every 5 seconds, like make sure you take a picture of the driver just in case you get kidnapped. I can show everybody, look for this guy, he has my son. Like, it was so I was being ridiculous. No, but that's exactly what my mom would have been done. Like, make sure you write his name down. Ask for his last name and his birthday.
But it is New York City. I mean, you are correct to say, who is this guy?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because we read the papers. Shit happens, kid.
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
And I can't Liam Neeson him.
No.
I won't. No. Someone gets my son. They got my son. I'm not going to find him, man.
I have no skills. I have no skills whatsoever. So do with him whatever you will.
Exactly. I have no money and no skills. So enjoy this headache that you took from me.
Yeah. But at 14, I remember I didn't even want people to think I had parents. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
You just acted like, no, I don't. I live alone.
Yeah. I have a house to my. Yeah. I take care of it.
Right.
Exactly.
But you have put him growing up in your act over the years.
Yeah.
Does he get?
Does he get royalties? Yeah.
Yeah. But the other kids ever bring up any of that stuff?
It was so funny because Ting Ting was such a big joke. Like it just lit, like because my son called his penises Ting Ting, and I did the joke. And I didn't know it was going to explode the way it did, but it's like everywhere I went, it was like, if I had my son with me, he's like, oh my God, is this Ting Ting? I'm like, yeah, it was Ting Ting.
Yeah.
He's 14 now, and you're embarrassing him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this last special, man, all of his classmates have Netflix.
Sure.
So like that, it was nonstop, man.
Right.
It was all about Joe's dad, which was cool because before the Netflix dropped, it was like, oh, that's my dad. He's a comedian, but no one knew who I was at his school. And they all got like, his friends are like celebrity dads. So I was kind of like at the bottom of the totem pole. So like his best friend's dad is Mark Anthony. And it's like, oh yeah, you can't mess with that.
Right.
That's all of Spain. and then his best friend is Dominic, Purcell's son, Gus. So it's like I can't even compete with these guys. You know what I mean? And then I got the special, and now I'm like at the top of the totem pole. So it's like, Mark Anthony likes your special. I'm like, I know.
But that is true of Netflix. Like specials used to kind of come and go. They would play. Mm-hmm. Everybody like, oh, I caught your special 2 weeks ago. But with Netflix, it kind of sits
there.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go back and watch that.
Yeah, and they subliminally suggest it to you.
Yeah,
that's what I love the most. It's like you type in Jackie Chan. Hey, did you you ever watch Joe Coy? What? I don't do kung fu.
Yeah,
that's racist, Netflix.
That is great. The subtle racism.
The subtle subliminal.
Yeah.
What? Enter the Dragons, Bruce Lee? What's that got to do with Joe Coy?
You like it. You like
it.
But that is an amazing change that's taken place, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
And by the way, it shows when I had the meeting at Netflix before they pushed it. Yeah. They go, you're gonna see a response like immediately, and we didn't think it would be that immediate, but it was overnight, man. It was crazy. From places I never thought it would reach, but it reached. And
oh, you mean even outside the United States?
Netherlands, South Africa, New Zealand. It's nonstop.
Well, it's going to make your touring a little more difficult. You're just going to be flying to the South Africa to do a one-nighter.
I know. I finally get to do gigs that I've been dreaming about doing. Like, you know, I can't wait to go and hit South Africa and tell jokes there. My comedy brought me there, Mom. She did not believe in me, man.
Yeah.
She did not.
Yeah.
She did not. And if anyone meets my mom, which is, she'll be in Vegas, you'll know it's her because she's wearing a lot of gold. Mm-hmm. That's what old Filipino women do. Gold everything. Are we going bowling? Where's my gold? But
she's loving it now. She's
like she's like, when are we going on tour? Like, what are you talking about? You didn't do any of the hard gigs. You're just gonna cherry pick this thing.
But you even bring up in this special a real late starter.
As far as stand-up?
Well, as far as everything. I mean, you said you were in the house.
Oh, I didn't leave the house till I was like 32-ish, 33.
Yeah, right.
It was pathetic. But, I mean, you know, it was just her and my stepdad. It was cool. I had my own room.
Yeah.
And finally it started happening and I moved away. But, you know, I hustled in Vegas, though. Like, I lived with my mom, but like, to be a comic in Vegas, they don't have rooms. Like, they only have headlining rooms.
Yeah.
So it's like you had to go to LA to become a headliner and move to Vegas and do shows in Vegas. So I when I got this gig at Catch a Rising Star to open for this headliner, they gave me 2-for-1 tickets to hand to people. And I noticed in the audience, it was like everybody I knew was in the audience and they used the 2-for-1s. And I was like, well, why am I giving this dude this money if they're here to see me? So I started renting out theaters, and that's how it all happened. So I rented theaters in Vegas, and I was selling those out. And then I got sponsors. There was this brand called Dada Footwear. It's streetwear. Yeah. And they're not around anymore, but it was big. Like B.I.G. used to wear, LL Cool J used to wear the hat, and they used to sponsor my shows. This is like 1997, and they used to sponsor my shows. I used to get shipments from Dada, like 300 shoes. It looked like a warehouse, and my mom would rock Dada Footwear. She'd have t-shirts and shoes, and just this little Asian woman going, I love Dada Footwear. And they used to sponsor my shows, man.
So right from the beginning, you're doing stand-up, but you also have to be a businessman.
Yeah, more business than stand-up.
Is that right?
Stand-up was just fun.
Yeah.
But I did. That's why I wasn't scared to, produce this special. It was like, if you're going to wait for it, then it's never going to come. So that's always been my mentality. So, but it's funny to look back at the flyers that I used to make. Like, I used to make tickets and cut them at Kinko's. This is before, like, these kids got Photoshop now. And, like, I had to beg a guy to make a ticket for me on his computer, you know what I mean? Then I'd go to Kinko's and cut, like, 500 tickets myself and bring them to my work and sell it to everybody. I used to go to, people's doorsteps the day of the show because I needed that $14, man. Because I knew I had to pay the venue. Right. And they promised. They were like, yeah, I'll go. I'll buy it that day. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. I'm coming to your house and I'm getting that $14. And I would literally go door to door and get that money, man.
And then so you're walking out those places playing a theater when you're not a draw anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, right? Anywhere. No, no one even knew who I was. Yeah. And then finally, because I was booking all these comics like JB Smooth and all these guys that were headlining, in LA, and they were like, dude, you need to move to LA, man. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. But I mean, my mom doesn't charge me rent. So, but I finally got the kahunas to do it, man. And I went out there and it happened.
Well, yeah. But piece by piece. Too, right?
Slow, man. It was slow. I couldn't even get into the clubs. It was like starting over. Yeah. So, and then finally I got into the Laugh Factory, and then Jamie Masada, who owns it, got me in and got me in. He owns it. But, but he was booking me every night. Every night I was performing. I was doing like 7 shows a week. And then finally I got Montreal Tonight Show, and Tonight Show is what put me on the map. And that was like 16 years in already. 16, 17 years in.
16, 17 years before
the Tonight Show.
Anyone says, hey, kind of welcome to show business.
Yeah.
So we get it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And how I got the Tonight Show is I had to audition for the festival in Montreal. So I had to do all these auditions all over town. And then finally they gave me a spot on New Faces in Montreal. And I got to Montreal on this thing called New Faces. And then Ross and Bob. I always say Ross and Bob. They're the ones that were booking the Tonight Show that day. When I got off stage, they go, "You're on the Tonight Show. Get ready." And I called my mom. I got the Tonight Show. Okay, well, make sure you buy milk when you come home. She didn't even care.
She didn't care at all. Yeah. But the Tonight Show, and you were one of the few people that at that point in time that one show could matter for, because it used to be the Tonight Show. You did it. People thought, okay, great. We're going to give you a lot more stuff. And now it doesn't always work that way.
They even said back then the same thing. They were like, oh, it'll be good tape to hand to the clubs.
Right.
But I was like, no, man, this is the Tonight Show. And I was working at Nordstrom Rack at that time. And if you don't know what Nordstrom Rack is, it's not Nordstrom. And I was working at Nordstrom Rack, and I was cleaning yachts. And I had my son, you know what I mean? And I was like broke trying to tell jokes. And that Tonight Show was like, I got to kill it, man. And I got that standing O. That
was the thing for you, right? The fact they jumped up.
Yep. And Joaquin Phoenix was on that show. And this is when Joaquin was going through that crazy
nutty
phase. Yeah. And he was acting like he was sick. And he told Ross and Bob, he was like, he's cutting his segment. So he's only going to do 1 instead of 2. He's only going to do 1 segment. So do you want to get some jokes ready for Jay to talk to you?
Yeah.
Because you're going to fill in that segment. So I'm all excited because I'm like, oh, I'm going to set the panel. Usually comics just stand at their mark and say goodnight. So they go, yeah, get ready for the panel. And Joaquin goes long. Not only does he go long, he goes into my segment. So now they're cutting my time. That's why my set was a little shorter.
Right.
And they came up to me and they were like, hey, look, Joaquin went really long and now we have to cut into your segment. Jay said, stand at your mark and he's going to run up to you and shake your hand and you guys are going to say goodnight, and then that's it. And I was so mad, and I just remember I was backstage and there was 2 security guards. I was bouncing up and down. They're like, "You ready?" I was like, "I've been waiting for this my whole life, man." It was like Rocky. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kill it tonight." Oh man, that's mom's spaghetti on my chest. and I ran out there, and I mean, I came like I was hitting on all cylinders, man. Like the first joke, I was just like, I knew it. I was like, I knew that whole set like the back of my hand. I just kept hitting it, and then I said goodnight, and they stood. Like, I remember it was like a chain reaction. It was just like these girls in the front row jumped up, and it was just like everyone stood. It was like everywhere. And then I was waiting for Jay, and I looked at the desk, and he was like, "Get over here, get over here." So I ran to the desk, and he asked me a question. Like, and then we went to break. And when we went to break, I go, "You told me to stand at my mark." He goes, "You got a standing ovation, man. I can't let you stand there with a standing ovation, man. I have to talk to you." He goes, "I did the Tonight Show 15 times. I never got a standing ovation."
Yeah, that was always the great thing about Jay, is that he got that feeling like when you don't come up in the ranks that way. And he was the same way. They weren't letting him do the Tonight Show when he first wanted to.
Yeah.
So he always got the fact of, let's see how this guy does. He's almost like a Monday Night Football announcer where he's played the game and now he's watching it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Because he loves stand-up.
He's Merle Olsen.
Yeah. So he even looked shocked the night.
Oh, hands down. Yeah, I looked over to my right, and he was just like, "Get out of here." It was the coolest thing, man. The coolest guy.
Right.
Hands covered in oil. It was so funny. Yeah, my car wouldn't start. I had to get out of there. I was like, man, you can pay someone for that. Yeah. He was the nicest guy, man. And he still works every Sunday. You know that?
Yeah,
you know, Comedy Magic Club. Every Sunday, he gets up and performs. Yeah, I think he gives the money to the club owner. He doesn't even take the money.
Well, that's the thing about Jay is like, I think he only did the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's it.
So he could do the monologue, and then the rest of it was like a pain in the ass to him. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted to go out, do jokes on TV. Yeah. And then somebody came in, they had a movie or something, and he was just like, okay.
Whatever. That's nice. There's a lot of action.
You can see his heart wasn't in that part of the show.
Not at all. Oh, that's great, Bruce. Another Die Hard.
So when you did that show and the people were jumping up, it feels like a fever dream. Like this is like a fantasy. Like you finally, your brain is finally snapped. Yeah. And you've fallen into your fantasy world.
It literally happened overnight, man. After that Tonight Show, because I remember I was at Nordstrom Rack and my agent was like, "Hey, there's this guy that owns a cell company. It was called Amp Mobile at the time, and he actually owned Boost Mobile, and then he sold it and created Amp, and it was the first phone to actually live stream. So they had TV content. They just didn't have the back end to support it, so they went under. But he gave me the full on. I was the face of the company while it was in existence, man. I got free phones every month, man. I was in Radio Shack. It was great, dude. Yeah. I did commercials. I was like, and I quit. I literally, the minute I got that gig, I quit. I quit all my jobs. I never went back. I've never worked a 9 to 5 after that.
After today,
I don't even know why I said 9 to 5 because I only took part-time jobs. So I never worked a 10 to 3 ever again. But my mom was so mad. I remember she came because right when I had my son, and she bought me a car. She bought me an Acura TL, and she's like, "Joseph, I can't keep doing this. Like, just get a job. You have a son now. You can't pay everything in jokes."
Right. But I give you credit because when you're a comic, working 10 to 3 seems a lot longer, doesn't it? It's like an 18-hour day.
Yeah,
for
I get it
else.
at 10. I'm like, when is lunch? Lunch is at 12? Why? I'm hungry now. Oh, my God. I had the worst jobs, man. Yeah. Borders books.
Yeah.
I had to go in at like 7 a.m. until like 9:30 and shelf books. Oh. The worst time to buy books is when I was working there because I would put books anywhere. I didn't look. all my thing was to get done with the racks. They had these book racks, and on each rack was about 200 or 300 books, and you had to shelve them. And you had to get like 3 of those racks done before the end of the day. Bro, I got it done before lunch. I had Star Wars books in the Bible section. I didn't care. I did not care. I'm hungry.
I'm really also starting to notice anywhere that you ever worked doesn't exist anymore.
I put them under. I put them all under, man.
You're the kiss of death for anything you've ever done.
That's what I said in my interview. Hire me, and I guarantee we'll all be out of jobs.
But being a stand-up was the dream since you were a little kid.
Yeah, man. 10.
Yeah.
10.
Who was it you saw that you're like...
Well, like cliche, everyone says Richard. But literally, my friend Leonard, his dad had all these Richard tapes, so that was my first cassette that I heard.
Right.
But when Delirious came out on HBO, oh man, it was over, bro. I was Eddie Murphy for like 8 years. Yeah, from 10 to 18, it was like it was nothing but Eddie Murphy for me. And and this is back in the day when he had VCRs, and we couldn't even afford the blank tapes, so I would just take old tapes that I wasn't watching anymore, and you had to break the seal, you know what I mean, and put tape over it or something like that, and then you stick it in, and then you could record over it, and then you can also extend the time of the tape. Like if you want really good tape, you press SP for slow play, but if you want extended play, you can put 19 movies on that tape. But the dubbing was off, but I didn't care, so I'd have all stand up on like one tape, man. I had Richard Pryor, Whoopi Goldberg, Around the World. Oh my God, that was such a great one-man show.
People forget. I mean, she exploded with that show.
That special changed my life, man. Yeah. When I saw her do characters, I was like, oh.
And the physicality that she had.
She was brilliant. And then all she did was like to change characters. She would put a T-shirt on her head, and now she's a blonde girl. Or she put on the beanie, and she was a Rastafarian. I was like, Whoopi is amazing. Like I watched that special so many times. It was like that, Live at the Met by Robin, and then of course Eddie Murphy, Delirious. I went to Raw. I went to it live, man.
Really?
Yeah, I was 15 and I bought tickets. This is when there was no computers. I had to buy the tickets on a phone.
Yeah.
And then and I used my mom's credit card. and she thought I was going to a movie. And I bought 2 tickets, and she had to drive me to Seattle. She's like, "Where is this movie?" You said Eddie Murphy. She didn't know he was stand-up. Right. You said Eddie Murphy. I'm like, yeah, we're going to the concert. I have to stay in Seattle. Because we lived in Tacoma, and she had to stay there until that concert got out.
Wow. That's hilarious.
Me and my friend William, we were just sitting there like watching Eddie Murphy, man. It was the best.
And your mom is just sitting out on the street.
Driving around Seattle. On a rainy day. Just miserable. He's in there.
So you knew early on, like it's something you wanted to do. You're studying it, but you can't really tell people that when you're 15.
Oh, I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone until right when I moved to Vegas. That's when I started signing up. My sister was a singer already, so she was in this thing called oh my God, it was like something Star. They were copying Star Search,
right?
So it was a word play that sounded like Star Search. It was like searching for stars, you know what I mean? And it was the show that they were doing in Vegas, looking for like the next star that they could put in a casino. That was their bill, you know what I mean? And I went and saw my sister, and this comedian went up before her in the talent show, and she looked at me. She's like, "You can do that. You should do that." But I didn't tell her that I wanted to be a comic yet.
Right.
So I called. It was called Starmania. That's what it was called. It was called Starmania. And I called and I booked myself. And the name of the club, the bar that I had to go to that held the competition was on Eastern and Tropicana. But I was only 18, so I grew out my peach fuzz and I took my mom's mascara and I darkened it. And then I wore a tie, which my mom was so thrilled to see that. She still had no idea I was going to this talent show, and And I was telling her I was going on a date or something like that. And I went and I bombed so bad. And there was this guy that did Lionel Richie. He was a Lionel Richie impersonator. And he smashed standing O, man. Rightfully so. He sounded just like Lionel. And then I went up and ate it. And that guy, the Lionel Richie guy, I wish I knew this guy's name because I literally wanted to quit. Like I was like, oh, I can't do this. But he goes, man, you got stage presence, bro. He goes, yeah, you were eating it, but you held that stage, man. You were good on that stage. I was like, but no one laughed. He goes, yeah, but you were good up there, man. You just stood up there. So if it wasn't for him, I think I would have quit, man. I was working at Going to the Game. It was a one of those sports blah 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 sports stores, and I was a warehouse. I was a stock guy. Duh. Yeah. And then I remember when I wrote that set, I cut it in half because I had like 2 pages, and I cut the second page in half, and I go, this is way too much material.
But
I couldn't even get past my first sentence, man. I bombed so bad.
You had never done stand-up, though. It's so insane to think, I've never done stand-up. Better go to Starmania and see if I'm the next big star.
You know, it was so funny because I thought I was going to get signed that night. In my head, I was like, oh, they're going to sign me. I was crushing it in high school. I was the funniest kid.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they're going to sign me right away. Man, that was the worst day of my life. Longest drive home. And I remember sitting in my bed, just laying there, looking up at the roof going, oh, man, I'm not going to be able to do stand-up, man.
Well, it's devastating, too, because like you said, if you're the funny kid in your school, in your neighborhood, that's your identity.
Yeah.
And then you go on stage and say, this is me. And people go, no, you're not you.
That's not you.
Yeah, you're something else.
Yeah. Just get me a size 9 in these Nikes. That's what you are.
Just keep bankrupting one business after another. That's your future. So you're devastated.
Yeah.
What's it take to get back on the horse, though?
Well, I saw an interview, of course, Eddie Murphy, and he said that he bombed like 8 times before he got his first laugh. I remember seeing that interview. I forget what interview it was, but so I was like, all right, I'm a bomb. I got 8 shots at this.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
And you just kept getting up at open micers now.
Oh, everywhere. Yeah. I would do any gig, man. And then I did this cafe. It was called Buzzy's Cafe, right next to the college, and UNLV. Yeah. And that's where I got my first like applause break. I tell this story all the time, but I got like someone clapped. But when you're on stage and you hear that for the first time, you think everyone was doing it. And I had it on video. I had my camera set up just like that. And I remember I couldn't wait to get home and plug it in and watch it. And I watched it, and it was just one guy like this. And I was like, oh, okay. It like humbled me real quick. But then I was like, okay, cool. I got one guy to clap. Now let's try and get 2. Let's get 3. Let's get 4.
And that has kind of been your career of just, like I said, just gutting it out.
Yes.
One stage. Because a lot of people, at certain points, they just go, this is crazy, and they quit. But what kept you going? What made you just keep?
I didn't care. Like, and it was so funny because, like, it got to the point where I had, like, comic friends that were blowing up.
Right.
And I'm just like, damn, like, maybe I should quit, you know? But I never thought like that. Like I just kept pressing forward, and I go, my time will come. It'll come. Yeah. Just keep doing it. And that's how it was from the beginning. It was just like every time they said no, I was like, no, I think I can sell this theater out. And, you know what I mean? Like, I think I can go on the road. I think I can get this college. Like I didn't even have an agent. I was trying to get on this college circuit, and I couldn't get a college agent. So I just I sent in for the information from NACA,
right?
You know NACA, and then they sent me this form, and they showed me like where I could buy a booth and all that, and I bought everything myself and flew myself out. I made my own little tape that I had, and I stood at this booth and tried to sell my show. Didn't sell one show,
right?
But I mean, I did it. I invested.
That is the thing that you do. You invest in yourself.
You got to. It's funny now that I think about it, but it's like, it's kind of crazy. I remember driving up, and in my head, I was like, yo, I'm going to sell 100 shows, and I'm going to make $1 million on this. Because I heard everyone making so much money on these college tours. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I had this booth. I paid for all these banners, and I had flyers. I made a videotape that would loop on its own. And you know what I mean? I had the monitors up, and me at the Apollo, because I won the Apollo, and they're definitely going to book me because I won the Apollo, and not one kid signed me, man.
That is,
and I drove home with all that shit.
No, nowhere else ever to use it again.
Yeah, and I even had T-shirts made. I was like, I gotta wear these T-shirts. This is humiliating.
Yeah,
but I didn't even think. To be honest, I didn't even think like that, man. I was like I'm on to the next. I'll do another thing. Right. I just kept doing it.
But you were kind of your own manager, PR guy, the whole time.
Always.
Yeah.
Handing out flyers. That's like all the you'll hear comics always say that about Joe. Oh, Joe Coy always stood outside after every show and handed out flyers. I didn't care, man. I could hand out 10,000 flyers in a week, hands down, and order another box of 10,000. My manager now, he's my manager now, but back then we were just friends because he was repping another guy at that time. But I went on tour, this huge tour. We were selling out arenas, and he'll even tell you, man, I would go get 10,000 flyers and literally walk outside that arena and hand them out. I didn't care. And then when they dropped it on the ground, I picked them up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna hand these out. And thank God, because now look, you know.
But you hand out 10,000 flyers. How many responses do you expect to get?
I didn't care. It was a numbers game with me.
Yeah.
It was like, if I can get 10,000 out there, if I can get 3 guys to say my name, I've won.
Yeah.
The 10,000 flyers is $150, man. Mm-hmm. It's worth it.
But yeah, it's $150 and all that time and that kind of interaction.
Yeah.
But
you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
No one taught me that. It's just like, that's what you do. It's like no one believes in you more than you. So it's like, this is my dream. This is how it's I got to get it out there. I got to tell people.
You're doing a show right now on a guy's network that reminds me very much of that. Kevin Hart is...
That's one of the guys I'm talking about that blew up in front of me.
Yeah.
Because we were friends before that. We were doing radio shows together. We were doing colleges together. And we'd be in the same cities together, you know, and we're in Montreal together. Like, we're literally going out every single day, just hanging out. You know, the clubs in LA, we're at the end of the show. You know how it is.
Yeah.
We're standing outside talking. We're bowling for money. Mm-hmm. He's driving a Ford, Explorer. It's like, you know, like, you don't expect this guy to be the biggest thing in Hollywood at all. And then next thing you know, it was just like, Kevin's on this next level. I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. But I didn't look at it as jealousy. I was like, okay, I can get there.
But you see that you see that that's something in common that you and he have.
Yeah.
Just this incredible energy and this ability to be knocked down and jump right back up like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know?
We were in Montreal and we were getting our nails done. And we were getting our toenails done. And he's got an ugly toe, by the way. When he does your show, ask him. Look at his right toe.
No, I won't.
Hideous. Horrible. I don't care how much money he's got. He ain't fixing that toe. That toe is broke. That toe has no money. But we were getting our toenail, and it was so funny because he's like, "You ever get a pedicure?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Why would I ever do that?" "Oh, you gotta get it, man." So we're getting our toenails done, and then he goes into Rolex and he looks at a Daytona, a solid gold Daytona, and he goes, "That's next, man. That's my next goal. I'm getting that." And he got it. And I remember seeing that, and I was that guy like, yo, you can't spend that kind of money on that watch, man. That's stupid. And then I get what I understood what that meant to him. That was his goal.
Just set a goal, go after
it. And get it. Yeah. And that's why I'm rocking mine now.
Later, you'll listen to this and only be one person applauding.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back to that.
I thought that was so much better.
Man, that was good. It's so true. I swear to God, the whole house clapped.
One guy.
It's just the one guy.
Yeah. Well, you know, people, when they ask me about Kevin, I'm like, he always reminds me of somebody, he would have been successful no matter what. If he would have went in the laundromat business, he'd have 50 of them because he does work like that. Yeah. He's a very talented guy, but the other side of it just doesn't stop. He started this network now. He doesn't need to be doing that.
Dude, this is what I love about Kevin. Yeah. And this is what I pride myself on. Here's me just giving myself a compliment. I'm sorry. But like in this game, it's so hard because it's one dude. That's it, man. It's like I'm responsible for my destiny and it tends you tend to be a little bit selfish.
Right.
But the bad thing is when you do that, then you're never gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? when you get to the top and you don't have anybody with you, it's like what's success if you can't share it? You know what I mean? And how did you get there by yourself? You can't. You got to have a team, and you got to like share it. You got to explain to people how to get there. That's why I don't care telling people you need to get flyers. And you need to shake hands and here, come on the road with me and hustle, man. I'll share my audience with you and just go out there and get them, win them over, because there's enough for everybody. Yeah. There's enough. So just like, I take these guys on the tour and I'm like, what do you need, man? Like, here, we got 4,000 people that we're telling jokes to. Now, don't stand here in the green room at the end of the show talking to me about it. Go tell them who you are. You know what I mean? I did what I could for you. Now go out there and do it. Like, that's what I love about Kevin. It's the same thing. He got this network and he's like, Joe, here's a show. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, he gave me my show, and that's what you do. You share it. It's like, I can get this network, so can you. Here's an audience that I've gotten on my own, but I'm going to share it with you. And now you get yours. You know what I mean? That's the kind Did that make sense, or was that too long-winded?
No, I love it because I think the people that don't know that there's a lot in the universe tend to hold on to it real tight.
Hold on to it.
And they're never happy because they think there's not enough. But when you think there's abundance, there's plenty, you live a more joyful life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And laughter's free, man. So
right.
just like make people laugh, man, and that will grow.
But I think that also comes from you promoting yourself when you're younger, that you see that the whole show matters. Yeah. Where a lot of, I know comics that don't like to even hear their friends getting laughs. Like, maybe these laughs could.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't like, I'm the kind of comic that thrives on the guy crushing in front of me. Right. So that's who I take on the road. Like, if anyone's come to any of my shows, they'll always say, who is that guy in front of you? They always compliment that guy. Like, that guy was really good. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. I took him. I took him on the road, man. I want to be able to be challenged. I want to be able to follow some guy that's crushing in front of me. I want to be able to go, okay, I got to beat this. I got to make them forget who you are, right? Because they paid to see me.
Yeah,
I took Chris D'Elia on the road for a year and a half, man. Like, the minute I saw him, like, we were at the Ha Ha Cafe. My boy Jason Collins, he's a comic, and he took me to the Ha Ha Cafe, which is in LA, and I saw Chris. He was about 2 years in. He was just starting, and it was a room like maybe 10 people, and he was crushing. And I go, dude, you want to go on the road? Open for me. And he was crushing in front of me, man, for like a year and a half. That was like one of the best times that I ever had, because it was like every day was a challenge for every show, not day, every show. It was just like, he would crush, and I'm like, all right, I gotta cry. I remember one time he was like, did you see that? Like 5 people stood.
But you know, this is another thing that a lot of the younger guys coming up now, they don't set out to crush or kill. They're in this quiet. Sometimes you'll see them leaning back, but your special is just this explosion after explosion. I remember even saying it, going, well, this thing has peaked pretty early. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing, this is like the ending bit, and we're 7 minutes in, and people are falling out. But you kept that going the whole time. But that is your intention, to destroy that place.
Yeah. Especially that routine, because when I did Lights Out, I think it was like 5 years before I put out Live from Seattle. But mind you, that wasn't my choice. Yeah. I wasn't getting the deal.
That's crazy.
And I didn't understand. I was like, yo, why haven't they offered another deal after Lights Out? Because I thought Lights Out was amazing. And I wasn't getting a deal. And I was like, what is going on? And then finally, like 5 years later, we get like this deal from Comedy Central, and I was like, I want to hold off for Netflix. And then I held off for Netflix too long that the deal for Comedy Central fell. So now that didn't happen. And they were like, oh, well, we already signed our roster for 2017. I was like, oh. And now Netflix isn't coming after me. I'm like, now I had no place to go. So my manager just looked at me. He was like, you got the money. Let's go. Let's make it. I'm like, all right. I've been doing it my whole career, because if I wait another year, it's going to be 6 years. And then for that to happen, then we're going to have to wait another year for them to play it. So that's 7 years. And it's like, we got to do it now. So we shot it ourselves. And we got it on that roster.
I've seen people shoot stuff themselves, and it doesn't look as good as yours. Yours.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, tell me.
once again, it comes back to investing in yourself. And when, the cool thing about our director, she had the vision too. Both of them, I'm sorry. They had this vision and they understood my vision. They came and saw me, but I told them, I go, it can't look cheap, man. It can't look like this came from one guy trying to produce his own special. Like, I want the best of the best and let's do it. And I paid for everything, man. Like from that logo behind me, I think that thing was like, it would not stop adding up, and it was just to the point where I was just like, yeah, go ahead,
right,
go ahead.
Right. But
this is my favorite. Yeah. They go, Joe, do you want the regular stage? It's going to look dirty. It's old. You know what I mean? This theater's 100 years old. Or we can put this nice laminated layer on top of it. And it'll just pop when we throw some lights on it. I was like, oh, yeah, let's throw that on there. Okay, that's like $15,000. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, can I keep it when we're done?
But that is...
The whole house is wrapped in this lanyard.
Like, a comic doesn't normally understand that, because when people go back and they talk about Pryor, that thing was a movie. It was shot like a film, so it's beautiful. So when you get something that doesn't look, it looks like it was shot in a supermarket, whether you know it or not at home, you're going to realize that.
Yeah.
But your thing had that look.
Yep.
Like the lighting was there.
Oh, man, we had the best. He does Bruce Springsteen's lights. So that was like, when he said Bruce Springsteen, I'm like, yeah, what's your price again? I got everybody, man. Yeah. That logo was so expensive. Can I tell you a story about the logo? The logo was designed by my friend Dennis, who he owns this company called Crooks and Castles. And he designed that JK for me. And that thing was like, I'm making up a number, but it's close to it. It was like 15,000, 16,000 for that, just for those letters.
Right.
Probably 20,000. Let's say 20, because they had to ship it from LA to Seattle. And then, and at the end of the show, after the taping, they're breaking it down. Like, imagine you pay 20,000 for something and they're just breaking it down and they're going to throw it in the trash in the alley. Like, literally, because they had to clean the theater out. So I told my sister and I told my manager, I go, just keep it. I'll put it in my backyard. So they packed it up. But you had to individually pack each piece, and it's made out of stainless steel and fiberglass, right? Each piece was like 15, 20 pounds. They wrapped it up in like this bubble wrap, and they had to put it in like big fragile wood like boxes, and they shipped it, and I had to hire a freight truck to drive it back. That was $4,000. So I had to pay $4,000 for it to come back. Then I had to get a storage unit that was like $200 a month, because it was that could hold that logo, and we did that for a year. So that's like another $2,400 just so I can see this guy come to my house and go, this thing's 16 feet tall, right? Like, you gotta get a permit to put this in your yard. It was just huge. Like, I was blocking people's views, and I was like, oh man, well then, you know what? Forget it. And we threw it away. It was the worst investment, but it was just like, that's what it was. Like being the producer of that special was huge, man. But I love the fact that you loved the audio on that, because that was my biggest thing. I said, I want the whole place lit up with microphones.
Right.
I want microphones, because it was two balconies. We went all the way to the top.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the topped mic'd at that point. And I was like, no, mic them, man. I want people at home to hear everybody laugh.
Well, the people in the second balcony are still close to the stage.
Man.
So this is a fantastic old kind of theater that
100 years old. That theater
had been through all kinds of performances.
Yeah.
So those kinds of places were even built before anybody was mic'd.
Yeah.
You would just walk up there and sing opera.
Yeah.
So you did such a great job of picking that theater, putting that special together. But I don't think people understand when you say you're going to do it yourself. It's not only your money, but you signing off on all these things, because you don't have other experts to do it.
Yes. And not only was it, I produced it, but I had nowhere to sell it. So it was a complete risk.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, I'm going to shoot this, and then what do I do with it now? Put it on my website? Like, I could have just done this with I could have done that with my iPhone, but Yeah, I had nowhere to sell it, man. But my manager, Joe, was like, oh, we're going to sell this, man. Like, we're going to get this. And Thanksgiving Day, they signed it. I got all choked up.
Thanksgiving Day. So the pressure before that, it's the fact it was immense, right?
Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that comes through, and you know it. You know in your heart that this is a game changer.
All right, now you're trying to just build me for more tears.
No, I'm serious. Because people, I don't think they realize that you're smart enough, you've been around this business long enough to know that thing might not sell or sell to the wrong place.
It wasn't going to sell.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They already said that 2017 roster was full.
Yeah.
And then Netflix had just made this deal where they're doing all the top comics specials.
Right.
You remember that announcement?
Yes.
And we're already full for 2017. So Joe, we can't get you on 2017, but we'll probably get you on 2018. But we'll come back out in 2017 to see you. And this is early 2016. I know I'm saying a lot of numbers, but I want you to see how long the process took to get. And that was like in February of 2016. And I was just like, God, like, this sucks, man. So I shot it. I said we shot it in March or April. I can't remember when we shot. We shot in April, sold in November, and they stuck us on that 2000. They watched it and they were like, okay, we're going to put it on the 2017 roster. And they stuck me between Chappelle and Louis C.K.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And that's like you said. That's where you've always want to be in the show.
I didn't want anything else.
Yeah.
I like when Comedy Central made the offer, I was like, I didn't want to go there. And it was so funny because even on the second one, I was like still talking about Netflix. I was like, I want to be on Netflix. I don't understand why we can't get on Netflix. And I was going to get on Netflix no matter what it took.
Yeah.
Cry.
Seriously, I think it's great.
And they're the best. They are the best company to work for. They are hands down. They believe in their product. Everything they purchase, they believe in and they support it. They don't shelve it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't just stick it on the back burner. Oh, we got content and we threw it over here. Try and find it yourself. Netflix really goes out and supports everything that they're on.
Yeah.
So if you watch a Jackie Chan movie,
yes,
I will be heavily suggested.
But I know I've talked to a lot of people that have been in that position where their life, Tom Segura was, once he got on Netflix, his life changed and stayed that. That's why I brought that up, that you were smart enough in this to know on Thanksgiving Day, this isn't just like a good thing. You know it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But this is what always kills me about the business. Anytime, and you don't come out to the East Coast a lot, anytime you ever came and did my show, killed. Everybody knew that you were in the same category of the people that we're talking about.
Oh, thank you.
For a long time.
Yeah.
But to be able to prove that to the business, that's the tough thing.
Yeah. And then you got to get on a platform like that.
Right.
And it's crazy because getting Netflix to come see me was another problem. It was like, we didn't understand. It was like, I'm selling out, like I was selling out 12 shows in a row. Like I was adding shows, and this is without a TV show or anything. And it's like, here I am doing these big numbers, but no one's paying attention. And it's like I felt like, well, why aren't they seeing this? Like, well, no, they don't see it. They're in their office. You got to go in there and show them. So that's what they did. That's what I had to do.
Or they get an idea in their head. They're like, oh yeah, he's big with like the Chelsea audience.
Yeah.
But they
don't see what's in the audience.
Yes, you're like, I know funny people. No one comes in and says, oh, Joe Coy, not very good. You know what I mean? Like that has never happened. Mm-hmm. And yet it seems like sometimes you have to tell the over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then they believe.
Then they believe.
Once they have the numbers for it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this show that you are doing for Kevin Hart's new network, Laugh Out Loud. And this is a show where awful people do awful things to their loved ones.
Yes. It's great, man. It's Inglorious Pranksters. But you know what's crazy about this show is like the production is just, it's kind of like you guys go and do it and I'm going to talk about it.
Right.
And I love it because it's hysterical. Like these people will do anything. They don't care if I have to go to jail or I'll lose my mom because of this, but they do it. And it's funny, man. It was one of the easiest jobs I've ever done because I didn't have to physically go out and do this stuff. They just sent it in. I'm like, okay. And then you interview them, you talk to them. But why did you do this?
Yeah. Well, one kid, I don't want to give away any of this stuff, but one kid was inappropriately touching himself without even knowing it.
Yes.
And rather than going with the prank that he pulled, you were asking him about that.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't understand how people can just put that stuff out there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy every minute of it. But it's just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, back in the day, it was just Jackass. It was just those guys.
Yeah.
It was just them. You know what I mean? And then now it's the whole world. Even my son's like, Dad, maybe if I did this, I'll get more YouTube followers. I'm like, Joe, just study. just study, man. Don't worry about this stuff. I don't want to fill up a pool with Cheerios in the living room.
But the difference is, I think, is like around the time of Jackass, you still had to have a crew, a film crew. These guys can do this, edit it on their phone, cut it up, and then they send it to you. And you give it on a bigger platform. It's insane.
Give it the platform. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. But you're right. When we first saw Jackass, everyone was like, well, that's a temporary thing. That's not. No. But
that changed the game.
Yeah. But even there was somebody who was explaining what they were doing, and the person got upset, and they go, well, this may be on a prank show. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the old candid camera where, like, relax, we have cameras everywhere. Yeah. This person will do something in public and then go, you don't understand, I'm doing this on my phone. Yeah. Maybe it'll go on a show.
Maybe someone will watch. But for right now, let's do something stupid.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, but that kind of thing has changed. The internet has changed everything.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
And I wonder if people will ever even have to go through what you did, where 15, 16 years
I'm
of
so
working
happy
at
you
stuff.
asked that question.
Yeah.
Because they still do, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to make physical flyers anymore. I still do. I still make flyers.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, because people love tangible stuff, man. They like to touch it. They want to take a part of you home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they love that when you have a card with your picture on it, or if you sign something. They love grabbing something like that. And it's got to be nice. Don't make something cheesy. Don't buy the cheapest material. Like, make it look like really like, yo, this must have cost $10 here. I'm going to put this on top of my drawer. Or I'm going to hang this in my cubicle. Wherever they put it, it's good for you. And so, I still do that. But yes, they still have to do it. You still have to spend the time. It's easier because now they have everything. I got Kinko's right here in my hands now. I got everything that I need is right here in my hands. You just have to use it. And they do have to work hard. You got to make that flyer. If you're going to be at this comedy club on a Tuesday night, put it out. Use all the tools that's given to you. Use your Facebook, use your IG, make a funny video, tell them where you're at. But to this day, they still don't do it, man. It's pretty crazy.
Well, now I guess people send these things to you. You'll put them out there, and then it's up to them. If they can take that creativity to the next level,
for sure,
as well.
I don't understand how you don't understand that you can make that. I don't understand how they don't understand that.
Right.
Like, it's so easy. It's right there. But that's the part of show business. It's like a lot of people just want to do the show. I don't want to do the biz. So,
but you've always loved the business side of show business.
Yeah.
As well.
I literally, I will say this. I subliminally got it from my mom because she always put us in some type of talent show. My sister and myself, always. It was like the Filipino organization in Tacoma. She was like the head of that. The most annoying thing.
Right.
And it was like every Easter, any holiday was an event. And then all the Filipinos would gather at this place called Knights of Columbus. And they would rent out this hall from the Knights of Columbus. And we would have Filipino food and entertainment. And I don't know why we said entertainment, because it was just my sister and I. It'd be my sister singing, and then I would dance. And it was like, and my mom would sit there like, yeah, those are my kids. They're so talented. We're like, no, we're not. We're just hungry. This is where the food is.
But that's that kind of.
That's my mom.
But that's also that immigration thing, right?
Oh,
that
yes.
you come to this country, you got to put your hustle on.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. It's a cool thing, man. It's a culture thing.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand it here. They might now, like 2017, it's starting to, like, everyone's starting to mesh and breed with other people and understand other people's cultures. But like in 80, like my mom came to this country in 71. Like, we were like the first. We were the pioneers of mixed babies. Like, I was the first Asian that had like almond eyes and they were green. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you lived in Tacoma, like you literally, I remember going up, there was this TV that we were trying to win at JCPenney. My sisters and I and my mom we filled out like 10,000 raffle tickets and just threw it in this big thing that they would spin because we wanted this color TV. And I remember this, I hate saying it, but white family, and we're going up the escalator and my mom goes, "Oh, look at the cute." She said hi to the little kid, and he pulled his eyes back. You know what I mean? And that was like 1982. Like, but that it won't happen now. But like back then, people didn't know what we were. Like, they had no idea what we were. Like, I was like this half-breed baby that no one knew what I was. Like, what are you? Like, I always got that question. What are you? And that's where that orange chicken joke came from. Yeah. What are you? I'm Filipino. I love orange chicken. That's Panda Express. That's not even Filipino. Why would you compliment me like that?
But that kept the hustle going.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my whole point of that story.
Right.
Is the culture. Like, you don't understand. Like, people will never understand my mom's culture, but that was her culture. You know what I mean? When she came to the States, that's what they did with their kids in the Philippines. Like, all my other kids were like doing all this other stuff, and my mom is like putting me in these events, making me a glove. I still have this glove that my mom made me for Michael Jackson. I would do this impersonation of Michael Jackson, and I had this glove that she made out of like these, I don't know what it was, like these balls on top of like these silver plates, and she sold it into she put like 1,000 of them by herself. I remember sitting on the couch. "You're going to win." I'm like, I'm 11. I want to play. But she didn't, you know what I mean? Like, her culture is like, I got to find talent in the family because that's going to feed the family. She didn't understand that we're in the States now, Mom. They got really good jobs here. You know what I mean? They got managers of shoe stores that make good money. In the Philippines, they don't got that.
Isn't it always interesting, too, though, that no matter where people come from, the kids, they adapt with the American culture very quick.
Yes.
But it seemed like they always identified with the black culture more than the white culture. Why do you think that is?
Out of all the Asians?
Yeah.
My best explanation would be is in Asia, the one place that got conquered by Spanish people were the Philippines. And for 300 years, it was Spanish culture. Spanish people got flavor. You walk into a you see a Puerto Rican, dark, black. He'll be black. And then you're like, "Are you, hey, bro?" And he was like, "Oh, no, I said, yeah." He's like, "Oh, you ain't black? You're Puerto Rican." But that's that flavor. And the Filipinos got that flavor, man. We got that Spanish flavor. I've always said that. I was like, that's why we can sing the way we do. Like the accent's not there. Like, like they'll have a thick accent when they talk, but man, when they sing, man, they sound like a black group.
Right.
My sister could sing, man. 83, she was the baddest chick in Tacoma, man. She could sing like a black chick. Even my mom was like, "My God, you sound like Whitney Houston." Wow. All my sisters dated were black guys. It was the funniest thing, man. My sister's married to Andre right now, man. That's dark, very dark. But it's like just like that. They just get it. You know what I mean? They get it. I almost feel like the cultures are the same too, man. Like the black people struggle. Like you guys say you're broke. No, Filipinos are broke. You know what I mean? Like they get it. Like the hustle that we have, the food that we eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like the broke food that you guys make. You got to see what Filipinos make. Like we put hot dogs in spaghetti and our tomato sauce is ketchup. Like that's spaghetti. Yeah.
But I think it's been so cool that you've been able to reflect that back to America, because a lot of people not aware, and a lot of people who haven't heard their story told yet, are hearing it through you, and that's got to kind of.
I'm really like, one of my best friends is Apple from the Black Eyed Peas, and he's Filipino, and his stories, you should bring him in here because that story is amazing. But anyways, that's one thing he said to me. He was like, we were in his limo, and of course we're smoking, and so now the conversation gets a little deep, and then he goes, "Hey man, I just want to say what you do for the Filipinos is amazing." And I'm like, "Hey asshole, you're in the Black Eyed Peas. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You are too high right now. I got a feeling you're too high right now. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you were the biggest Filipino ever. Like, you sold 100 million albums, man. You sold out Wembley Stadium. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, but I'm part of a group. Like, I can't tell anybody about our culture. I can't tell anyone about my mom. Like, you are telling everybody about my mom, and that is amazing. And you're our voice right now." I was blown away, man. I was in the back seat. I was high, but I was just like, I'm like, yo, thank you. Thanks. You're blowing my mind right now, but whatever, man. But yeah, that was the coolest compliment, because I didn't really look at it that way. I was just doing stand-up. I was doing stand-up.
Right. But connecting with people through your own stories, and that's the kind of magic thing that takes place through communication. But here you are at this point now, and this is a point that is as cool as anybody could expect to get where you are right now. So what are the goals now? What's the next Rolex?
The LOL network. I want my own LOL network.
Yeah,
I want to take it. Right now it's movies. So if I can make the special, I can make a movie. And I shot my first movie this year, and now I want to actually physically shoot it myself, because I know I can do it. It's easy. Everything's easy. Everything's easy. Yeah. Like, just believe that in yourself, and you can do it. Just stop telling yourself. I'll say this about my father. As much as we fought when he, because he did leave the family, and I didn't have a dad growing up, but when he did come back into my life, his biggest compliment to me is like, "I'm so happy you're doing stand-up, because it's a dream that you wanted, and I never pursued my dream as a pilot. I always wanted to be a pilot. I love being in an airplane. Like my dad's a flight attendant, and the only reason is because he loves being in planes. When he was in the Air Force, he worked on C-5s because he just loved being on a plane. He wanted to fly planes, and he never pursued it. He just was, I can't do that. And he goes, so I'm walking in your footsteps, man, because you're chasing that dream. So that was a cool compliment from my dad. Man. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you can do it, man. Don't wake up tomorrow going, I'll try it tomorrow. No, try today, man. There's this girl in Hawaii, and I hope she's listening right now, but she was at one of those salads, where they make fresh salads in front of you, and she starts crying. "Oh my God, Joe, you don't understand. I'm trying to be a comedian. I'm so scared and blah, 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 but you're my blah, blah, blah. You're my hero, blah, blah." And we took a picture, and I go, "Where are you trying to do stand-up?" I go, "Where do you go?" She goes, "Oh, I haven't gone up yet, but there's this open mic that they do at this one spot. I forgot the name of the spot." I go, "All right, cool." So we get to the room, and I tell my fiance, I was like, I think I want to just surprise her, because she said she was going to go and watch it. I go, I'm going to surprise her. So I drove there, and there she was sitting in this booth, and she didn't put her name on the list. And this just happened, by the way. This is like 3 weeks ago when I was in Maui. And I go, "Why didn't you put your name on the list?" She goes, "Oh, no, it's okay. They said their lineup's full." I go, "But I'm here." like they'll do whatever I want. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm Joe Coy. Like, what? And then she was like, "No, it's okay. I go, "Look." Because I understood. I understand. That's the scariest thing. It was in a bar. All the lights are on. Like, people are yelling out drinks at the bar, and it was they were cleaning the kitchen. It's a horrible environment for stand-up. And I go, "I'll go up. You want me to go up? I'll go up. If I go up, you go up." And she goes, "No, you're not going to go up." I go, "Yeah, I'll go up. Like, go up anywhere. Like, I don't care if I bomb tonight. Like, I know I'm funny, but I'll go up because I want you to go up." So I put my name on the list, and then she put her name on the list, and I went up. And then I got off stage and she didn't go up. And I sat right next to her. I go, honey, I'm telling you right now, if you don't go up now, you're never going to go up. This was the day to go up right here. Like, this is that moment. Don't let this moment pass. Like, go up. And she would not go up. And I go, I'm coming back next year because I'm doing a show. And I go, please don't like do this when I come back. Like, make sure you go up. Because I guarantee you this dream will die quicker than you think, man. You're always going to tell yourself no. So there's no good. That wasn't a good ending.
No.
But what I'm saying is...
No, not at all.
What I'm saying is...
Wow.
That wasn't a good ending. I'm sorry. But what I'm
so
saying
ready
is...
to feel good.
But what I'm saying is I hope she at least saw that I had no fear to bomb. At the position that I'm in, like Maui, like, are you kidding me? I do the Maui Center. Like, I sell that thing out. And here I am at this bar with, like, people not even paying attention. And I didn't care. It's like, because I love the fact that I'm on that stage and I love the challenge, and it's like conquer your fear, you know what I mean? That's what stand-up's all about. The jokes are easy, the jokes are free, but getting up on that stage and trying to get someone to pay attention and laugh, man, that's so hard.
Well, I love the fact that you said too earlier about it's easy, but it's also easy because you work as hard as you do. And I gotta tell you, dude, today was so much fun hanging out with you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see where you go with it next. Joe Coy, everybody.
Yes!
Joe Coy. So fucking great. I love you. Sweet. I love you too, guys. You're so sweet, man. Thank you. Thank you. Joe Coy.